40, 48, 24, 14. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits owner Pennsylvanians every day.
Welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. We have a lot going on today. Honestly, that is an understatement. So first and foremost, we're taking a live look at the White House. Construction on that UFC stage still ongoing. On June 14th, President Donald Trump says he wants to host thousands of people on the south lawn of the White House. He plans to have fights. It'll be a moment where everybody can just join together and celebrate America's 250th birthday as well as his 80th birthday. So it should be a really big night. That is coming up later on this month. You're also taking a live look down at Lincoln Financial. That is because we've got breaking news from the Eagles. We heard today, A.J. Brown, that trade has been confirmed. We'll be getting into what it means for the team, what it means for the city of Philadelphia, and how fans are reacting in just a little bit. Also, I want to let you know that at 8 o'clock, we are expecting a procession for a fallen officer. This officer is from Central Berks. We heard that during while in the line of duty, so during one of her shifts, we learned that she had crashed into a ditch. She was hurt severely. She was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, she did not pull out. You're taking a look at her picture right there on your screen. We'll be talking a little bit more about who she is, what she meant to her community, and how so many people have planned to get together tonight, lining up the streets in order to have that processional for her. So our Sky Fox should be flying over that scene at around 8 o'clock. We'll also have a reporter live on the ground talking to the people out and about what she meant to the community. So a lot that's happening here. Now, remember I told you about that breaking news with the Philadelphia Eagles. We are now hearing that A.J. Brown's trade has been confirmed. So one of our reporters, Alex George, got right out to the street. She hit the pavement asking people, how do you feel? Was this the right move? Alex, what are you hearing out there?
Well, like you said, we were there right when the news dropped. I'm talking minutes. We came out of our news van and we were asking people their thoughts on it. First, of course, we went to South Philadelphia at Chickies and Pete's just to check in with the fans there because we know that's where some of those real diehard fans are. We even saw Monty G. If you don't know Monty G, you usually see him wearing his flapping Eagles hat on the way there. But we wanted to know, what do the people think about this? And this is what they had to say.
You change and see what happens. If we get somebody else in here, I think we should be okay.
The Eagles going to do a lot better because when you're trouble in the locker room, which everybody says that he's trouble in the locker room, that, it makes the team kind of like apart. Now that he's gone, I think the team's going to be a lot better. We got a lot of good receivers from the Green Bay, Kansas City. We got that guy Lemon on the draft. The Eagles are going to be good this year, and the reason is because they don't have A.J. Brown.
They're crazy if they don't want to be here. Got the best fans in the world.
So, yeah, we have a three-time Pro Bowl wide receiver A.J. Brown going to the Patriots, and that's what Philadelphians think. I said to them, this feels like a little bit of a good riddance situation. Do you feel that way? And one woman we just spoke to said, that feels a little harsh, but it also feels a little bit accurate. So I think the general sentiment is if you don't want to be here in Philadelphia, then you don't have to be. So I think Eagles fans are really hoping that this season is going to shape up just fine without him.
Gracious. I should have known that Philadelphia fans were definitely going to come with realness, with rawness. So you did mention that you're still out there talking to people. Obviously, this is still brand new. You mentioned that one woman. Has anybody said anything to you that you thought was kind of shocking, or maybe anything else that you want to point out?
Eagles fans, they don't really, I will say they both shock you and don't shock you depending on how long you've lived in the city of Philadelphia. Like I said, they're diehard fans, so nobody said anything that made my jaw drop. I think the only thing that I was curious about is if anybody had any concerns for the future of the team. But if you're a true Eagles fan, no, you have full confidence. You know it's going to be great. They said we have plenty of other people that are going to pull this team through, and a lot of them were just talking about how what really matters is that the team gets along, and they'd heard some rumblings, and maybe this just means they're going to have a team that's gelled even better in the future.
Well, I guess there you have it. They are saying AJ Brown didn't make and he won't break us. So we'll see what goes on. I know preseason, I do believe, begins in August, and then we have the actual season kicking off in sometime in September. So this will be my first Philadelphia Eagles season here in the city of Philadelphia, and I'm really, really excited to see how things go. Alex, thank you so much for hitting the ground. Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you so much for hitting the ground, asking the people what they think. We're going to keep it up here in the studio, but I'm going to let you get back to interviewing more and more folks. And earlier on the Fantastic Sports Show, they actually put out sorry, I lost my train of thought there. They actually put out what do you call it when you ask? A poll. They put out a poll and they asked the people out there, how are you guys feeling? So you're taking a look at it there. Right now it's 50-50. And I mean, after listening to Alex, I would have thought more people would have said, like, love it. But maybe the 50-50 just reflects that kind of, I don't really care either way it goes. We're still gonna, well, as I say that, it changes. Now it's 48% of people say they love it. 52% of people say they hate it. But what I was getting at there is maybe it's just reflecting that people are saying that he didn't necessarily make or break the team, and so we're just going to continue on doing what we do best, going out there and hopefully winning. So again, we'll keep an eye on where things are at. Now, I also showed you that live image of the White House. Let's get right back on out there because we do have some news coming out of Washington, D.C. So we'll be talking more in depth about this a little later on, but I did mention the, what you can see back there, that UFC stage being built. Again, June 14th is the day that President Donald Trump says he wants thousands of people to gather there with him on the South Lawn of the White House. He's expecting it to be a huge event filled with celebrities, residents, people who just want to get out and celebrate America's 250th birthday, and for him, celebrate his 80th birthday. Now, in addition to that particular celebration to celebrate America's 250th, we also know there's an event called Freedom 250, and interestingly enough, we're hearing reports that multiple artists are actually pulling out of that particular event. Again, this is an event that's supposed to celebrate America's 250th birthday, but because so many artists have now said that they would not show up, President Donald Trump has floated the idea of maybe this needs to be a political rally and maybe I'll headline it. He actually put that thought out there. So just so you guys know, some of the people who have pulled out, and I want to give you the reasons as to why, because that context is very important. Bret Michaels was one of those artists. He said that he wouldn't do it because for him, he says this has evolved into something that he says is, and I quote, divisive. He says that he's concerned about his family, his friends, and his fans who are going out there. He doesn't want anything to happen to them. So he says he had made the difficult decision to step away from the performance. The Commodores, actually another group that said that they were pulling out. This is a funk and soul band, just in case you're not familiar, but she's a brick house. That's their group, okay? They said that they were pulling out of this performance because they could not publicly affiliate with any single political party. That was their reasoning. And then Young MC, Bust the Move, that rapper, said that artists were never told about the political involvement of the event, and he says that his decision to drop out of the show was a personal one. He said he hopes to still be able to perform in Washington, D.C., but he didn't know that there were going to be political undertones, so he says he can't. And then last but not least, Martina McBride, she's a country singer known for Independence Day, A Broken Wing. She said she thought the event was also going to be bipartisan. She didn't know it was going to lean any one way in particular, but finding out that maybe it will, she says that she's going to withdraw her performance as well. And she also said that it upset her that any fan who was moved by her music might now think that she's abandoning the meaning behind those songs. That is a quote. And she says, I assure you that is not the case. Now, who's still in? A lot of people want to know about this. C+C Music Factory says maybe they'll still perform. The lead vocalist of the group who made the song Gonna Make You Sweat posted a video online, said that he didn't know the event was put on by President Donald Trump, but he said that he might still perform despite any public backlash that he has been getting. Vanilla Ice flat out said, yes, I'm performing. I will be there. My fans know me. They know what I like. They know what I don't like. I will be there. And Flo Rida, that artist, that rapper, also said that he would still be going. He said he didn't care about the pushback or backlash that he might get. He actually commented laughing emojis in response to a question on Instagram that asked why he was set to perform at that event. So a lot of stuff going on as it pertains to the White House. We'll get into more of those headlines, what you need to know coming up as the summer does go on. But in the meantime, coming back here closer to home, it's a gorgeous day out in the city of Philadelphia. I actually got out not too long ago to grab some lunch right before this show, and it was beautiful. Not too hot, not too cold, just a nice little breeze to help me down the street. I want to check in now with our meteorologist, Kathy Orr. Kathy, first of all, it is so great to have you. I feel like we're having a great Monday. It's June 1st. We're starting the month on a Monday, and we got you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's great to be back. Yeah, after a week on vacation, I feel ready to go, Judea. I am ready for the summer of 2026. And as a matter of fact, there's also more first for June 1st. It is the meteorological start of summer. So meteorologists consider June, July, and August summer. So happy summer from Fox 29's Weather Authority. Also, we have the beginning of hurricane season, another first. It is the first day of that. It goes through the end of November. We are expecting a below average season as far as storms, which is great news. We'll see if that holds. And as we look live in Philadelphia, it has cooled down quickly. We have a brisk easterly wind from the ocean. And even though you get in your car, you drive about an hour plus to get to the shore, that strong wind is bringing cooler air all the way into the I-95 corridor, believe it or not. So a little bit cooling going on in Philly after a high of 80 degrees. A front cleared the area. We have a few fair weather clouds and temperatures right now in the 60s from Allentown through Pottstown, Philadelphia, Vineland, and Cape May. Still 74 in Lancaster, and in Reading, it's 75. Overnight, lows will be fall-ish. It will feel more like September or October with overnight lows in the 40s and 50s. We should be at 59. In Philadelphia, we will be at 52. And during the day tomorrow, plenty of sun. So maybe a morning sweater or a quarter zip on your way out the door if you're out early. High temperatures, however, will be in the mid to upper 70s, so it's going to be on the mild side. And down the shore, we're talking about the 60s, so not so bad. As we go through the day, you can see starting in the 60s, ending up in the 70s, so it will be pretty pleasant as we go through the day. After, let's see, Tuesday, we start building some warmth. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday somewhat, and we're talking about temperatures not only in the 80s, but the 90s, and we could be in for our second heat wave of the year, and it's not even officially the astronomical start of summer yet. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we see that big warm up. Thursday, 91, Friday, 94, Saturday, 92. That is heat wave number 2. And then Sunday, we see some showers breaking the heat. And then Monday back to 70s. And if you're going down the shore this weekend, it's going to be a nice weekend. High temperatures in the upper 70s, ocean water temperatures around 60, a mix of sun and clouds. But just remember, you never go into the water where there is not a guard covering the beach. We want to make sure that everyone is safe and not all the weekends are covered yet with every beach. Philadelphia forecast, next couple days in the 70s, then we switch to the 80s Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is that heat wave, and then you can see temperatures get back to average Sunday, they dip down Monday, and then go back up Tuesday and Wednesday. But Judea, remember, wasn't that long ago we were talking about temperatures falling into the 40s, falling into the 50s. If you're falling into the 70s, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. I will take it. You pointed out that we were going to have that second heat wave. Are we expecting this could be another opportunity for record-breaking temperatures, or it's just going to be hot?
Right now, it just looks like it's going to be hot. No 96, 97, 98, nothing approaching 100. That could change, but right now it doesn't look as intense as that last heat wave. Because you remember in May, and next time we'll look at the calendar for May, May, I believe, was the 19th or the 20th, one of those days, it was 98 degrees, and that was the hottest day ever in May in Philadelphia. I don't think we have anything like that for June just yet.
Okay, that's exactly what I was getting at, so
Yeah.
I appreciate you for clearing that up. Obviously, we'll keep our eyes on you, what you're saying, what the rest of the storm team is saying, just in case anything changes, but sounds good so far, especially for this weekend.
Yeah,
Beach plans sound great.
Oh, yeah.
Kathy, thank you so much. I'm glad that you had a warm, beautiful start back to your work week. We will be checking back in with her a little later on. So if you guys have any questions for a meteorologist, please feel free to put them in the chat. With that being said, I want to remind you all that this is a live interactive news chat. So while we're talking about some of the biggest stories of the day, you guys can hop into our comment section on any of our social media platforms that we're streaming on and, talk to me, tell me what you want to see next, ask a question, all of that good stuff. I'm able to read them in real time. Shout out to Brenda J. Lamore joining us. Shout out to World Peace Security, who said fire weather. Officer Jerry, beautiful weather. Have a nice day. Have a nice day to you too. But I hope you stick around with us for a little longer because we have a lot of news to get through in this hour. Let's see. We also have Craig joining us, Stephen Hunter, a couple of other people as well. Feel free to comment if you want that shout out. I'm able to do stuff like that, or again, if you have a question. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Remember, we've got a lot to chit chat with you all about. After this break, actually, I want to take you out to one of our airports here in the United States. They say that they are going to open and have actually started the process of opening the first remote TSA terminal. How does that work in terms of security? We'll be chatting with a Fox News reporter to find out a little bit more about it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. Coming on into our live stream chat. We got a lot going on, and I actually want to start this particular segment with some news that we're just now getting into our newsroom. So we had sent our Skyfox, our helicopter, out to New Jersey. I believe this is Cape May, the Wildwood area, where we heard that there was a water rescue going on. I do believe that swimmer is still out there somewhere. So what we have, I'm bringing up the latest information. We're hearing that a 14-year-old boy went missing. You're taking a look at some of that video from Skyfox. And now there's a water rescue going on on the beach in Wildwood. This is happening as we speak. Multiple agencies got out there, including lifeguards, fire departments, police, Coast Guard, and state police. They've been searching for hours for this 14-year-old. Now we are hearing that one swimmer involved in this incident was hospitalized. They seem to be in stable condition. 2 other people were treated at the scene, but they're still looking for this 14-year-old boy. They've been searching since about 1:26 p.m. Obviously, it's 7:20 at this point now. It is still light outside, which to me means that maybe the search can continue for a little while. Of course, when it starts to get dark, that's when things get a little more difficult, and sometimes that's when the crews have to break. But we've seen boats, we've seen people out there on the shores, we've seen emergency first responders get out there trying to help. Obviously, we don't have an identification on this 14-year-old. They are a minor. Right now, all they're telling us is that this 14-year-old is a boy. So that's the latest that we have of what's going out there in New Jersey. I also want to give you some breaking news from right here in Philadelphia. I'm hearing from Governor Josh Shapiro that the Pennsylvania House and Senate have now both passed pieces of legislation that would require schools to implement a bell-to-bell cell phone ban. That means when you come into school, phone goes up, can't use it, can't get it back until the end of the school day. He goes on to say our kids deserve to learn in a classroom that's free from distraction and where they can spend real time together, free from screens. His statement goes on to say protecting our kids' childhood is bipartisan. Democrats and Republicans agree on this. So let's get a bill to my desk and get this done. So he's hoping that soon he'll be able to sign that bill. But I'm wondering and would like to ask you guys what you all think about that. I've heard the argument that people think kids should be able to have their cell phones in school if, God forbid, something happened. We have seen time and time again, unfortunately, that when situations like an active shooter go down, sometimes these kids are able to text their parents. And sometimes that text message is the last time a parent gets to hear from or see something from their child. So I'm hearing on both sides why it's a distraction in this classroom, but then also why people say they need it for safety. So weigh in. Tell me what you all think. Somebody already wrote down, Clear Vision says no cell phones. Again, keep writing us. I'd love to read your comments. All right, let's move on for just a second. We'll come back to this topic in just a second. But I'm hearing that the city of Boston has decided they are going to become the first remote TSA terminal in all of the United States. And my big question is, how do you do that? How does it work? If it's all remote, how do you still get scanned? So instead of going through security at Boston's Logan Airport, some travelers apparently will be able to check their luggage and go through screening at a remote terminal about 23 miles away. I want to check in now with Kaylee Schuyler from Fox News, who's been looking into this for us. You're joining us right now from Massachusetts. How does this work?
Yeah, let me break this all down for everyone because it does sound a little confusing at first. So this is part of a pilot program called Straight to the Gate, and for now most JetBlue and Delta travelers will be able to check in at this terminal. You can tell it's pretty small, but all of the flyers today said everything was super easy. So once people get inside, they will go through their security screening and then they will wait in a holding room. Then they'll hop on a bus and they'll be taken directly to Logan Airport to their terminal past the security checkpoint. The bus can carry 55 passengers and it runs every hour from 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the ticket for the bus ride is $9. But of course, traffic can and will happen. So when you buy a ticket, the system will recommend a bus that gets to the airport at least 45 minutes before a flight takes off. There are about 400 parking spots here, but they're only about $7 a day, and that's compared to the $46 a day at Logan. And since it's still in the pilot phase, for now, only passengers with flights between 5:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. can use the remote terminal. It has a TSA pre-check line, and most international travelers can come here as well. Passengers can book the remote terminal anywhere from 90 days to 90 minutes before a flight, and transportation officials are hoping it will make the flying process a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think what we have to do is convince the public that everything that all the functions that you do at the airport, you're just shifting that time to here. So you'll realize once you get to the airport, you're going to be dropped off right at the terminal. So when you exit, when you get to Boston Logan, you're going to be inside the terminal. So you're going to be within the gates, be able to go to the bathroom, grab a drink, and go sit right down at your gate.
The pilot program runs through August 31st. Then transportation officials can decide if they want to extend their hours or add other airlines. Judea?
Got it. Okay, Kaylee, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first read the headline, my thought because it's remote. I'm thinking about remote work. You do something where you're not physically there at the office or whatever. I was like, how are they going to be checking people's bags and checking through stuff and you're not in front of them? Now I understand you also will physically be at a different location. So I hear you say they're hoping that this will make the flying process easier. Are they thinking that maybe this will help people get through TSA lines quicker?
Yeah, there's an element of that. And also, if you live a little bit closer to the Framingham area, this could be a little bit easier for you because you're just kind of flipping the process as opposed to getting to the airport and then doing all the security stuff. You're doing all the security stuff and then getting to the airport. So really, officials say what they're looking for with this pilot program is to alleviate some of the traffic congestion around the airport. And so we have been told too that the FAA and a lot of agencies and airline leaders are looking pretty closely at this. It's kind of like Boston is the guinea pig right now to see if this could potentially expand to other cities.
Got you. I'm so curious of how something like this would work out, like in its later on stages, in places like Atlanta or even LAX.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in Boston.
Yep.
If the people like it, I guess it will spread. Have you gotten to talk to any passengers about what they would think?
Yeah, so everyone, rightfully so, was a little bit anxious today as they were coming in because they didn't know necessarily what to expect. But just quickly chatting with some of the people, they said everything was super easy. They got through super quickly, under 30 minutes, not even close to that. So I think that is something that will be interesting to see as word gets out. Is it going to get super backed up here? Because again, it is a small building. So even today, officials were saying there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be little kinks to work out along the way. And so that's where they're going to see if this can be successful in the long run.
Okay. Well, you guys, we'll keep our eyes on the Logan Airport and see how things go for them out there. Kaylee, thank you so much for bringing this unique report to us here in Philadelphia. Again, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in seeing how things pan out. All right, we'll check back in with you a little later on. You guys, we still got a lot of news to talk about. Remember, I told you at the very top of the show, when we heard that the Philadelphia Eagles did decide to trade A.J. Brown, it was like one of those moments where you knew it was coming, so people weren't really shocked, I wouldn't say. But now that it actually is true, like we're not holding our breath anymore, we're not wondering, they're not rumors, now we have it confirmed. It seems to be split among our viewers. So the Fantastic Sports Show a little earlier on, they put out a question to their viewers. They say, now that it's official, how are we feeling about the A.J. Brown trade? You can see that 42% of their viewers say they love it. 58% say they hate it. And one of our reporters, Alex George, also hit the grounds. She was asking people, what did they think? For the most part, a lot of people were just kind of nonchalant about it. Like, if he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't have to be here. A lot of people were saying, we're still going to be the team that we are. We're still going to play strongly. So we're going to keep our eyes on you all. Let us know what you think. Did we make the right decision? How will this impact us? Are you hurt or do you care? These are all things that we want to know from you all. And we'll be checking in with our sports team just to get a more professional opinion about all of this when we come back. right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You guys are taking a live look at Lincoln Financial, where the Eagles play, and they will be playing this season without A.J. Brown. Yeah, we heard that trade rumor is not just a rumor anymore. It's official. Heard that news today. We were hearing that it would happen sometime after 4 o'clock, and I believe it was around like 4:30 when the newsroom just started buzzing because we got that breaking news in. I want to bring it right out to our sports team. Scott, you were among some of the people who were, getting this news out to the rest of us. I mean, how did it hit you?
Well, it wasn't really a surprise, although I kind of thought that Howie Roseman might kind of take some time to make this trade, just see if he could try to get a little bit of a better pick. But ultimately, he wanted a first-round pick. He got a first-round pick for A.J. Brown. It's not until 2028. He did also get a 2027 fifth-round pick for A.J. Brown. But life after A.J. Brown is officially here. And we will get to talk to the players tomorrow. They're having OTAs right now, voluntary workouts. So some of the players will speak tomorrow after practice. And, of course, they will be asked a lot about A.J. Brown and life now after him, now that he has been traded. Now, as far as reaction from former players, our Breland Moore was out live at a Brian Dawkins event, golf event, charity event, and she had the chance to catch up with former Eagles linebacker Ike Reese. Here's what he had to say about the A.J. Brown trade.
Well, the worst kept secret in the NFL is finally over, that A.J. was probably going to wind up in New England. Looks like the Eagles got some pretty decent compensation for a great player who was a great Eagle. But, we've had a lot of time to think about this move and how we will react to it and how we expect it to impact the team moving forward. I'm just happy that it's finally over with. I think the team has that cloud removed from being over their head. I'm excited about this team coming up this year. We got a lot of new players, young players, excited about this offense. So maybe the Eagles can sort of put this behind them and sort of move forward. And listen, we wish A.J. the best as long as he's not playing against the Eagles.
Yeah, I think that was perfect summarization. I felt like at OTAs, and maybe you got the same vibe, that it was already kind of a move-on situation. From the Saquon Barkley to the Jalen Hurts of just like, hey, we don't wish him ill. We're good, but it was very much a move on. Did you get that same impression?
Yeah, no doubt. And once the players that are currently on the team have sort of come to that resolution in their minds, you almost know it's a foregone conclusion. So you're right. Listening to those guys last week, Jalen and Saquon, just speak on the aspect of it. They certainly had a feeling that that this was certainly a possibility. And actually for the fans, man, there were some fans still hanging on the hope that this wouldn't necessarily happen, and hopefully they can find some peace with this because, listen, the Eagles are a great organization, and a lot of great players have come through this organization, and a lot of them have left, and the Eagles still keep going, and they still keep pushing forward, so we expect that to be the same.
Devontae Smith now, obviously, wide receiver one. Is he up for the challenge in your eyes?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think Smitty has done a great job of sort of continuing to develop as a player, and, even though we sort of, quote-unquote, labeled A.J. as the number one wide receiver, Smitty was no worse than a 1B. Mm-hmm. So I think he's proven that. His track record says that. I think he's looking forward to this challenge of being that guy. We know the pedigree is there. He's the best wide receiver in football when he came out. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a Super Bowl champion. He plays in one of the biggest markets in the NFL, so he understands what that pressure is like. He comes from great stock, so I'm excited to see what Smitty does, as well as I am with Lemon as a new young player. You bring in Hollywood Brown, you bring in some of these guys, Wicks. I'm excited to see what they do in this offense.
So there you heard Ike Reese. I thought he brought up a lot of great points. And you heard Breland and Ike talk about what this means for Devontae Smith. He's now going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy with the target on his back. He's going to be the wide receiver one. He's going to be the guy who is out there drawing a lot of the attention, and he'll rely on some of the other players to try to help free him up. Now, he's had a great career so far. He's still very young, and we'll see what kind of leadership skills he brings behind the scenes as well as that top wide receiver. Again, we're going to hear from the players tomorrow after practice. Should be around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We look forward to hearing what they have to say, but life after A.J. Brown, Judea, is here. They are moving on.
I mean, Scott, be honest with me, because during OTAs, as Breland brought up, when asked, they were just kind of like, we don't really want to talk about it. Like, there are so many other things that we could be talking about right now. Do you think that was the attitude then, just because they didn't have an answer just yet, like nothing was official, and so they didn't want to chat? Or do you think they just don't really want to be asked about A.J. Brown at all?
I think they're ready. They were ready to move on. And I think if you go behind the scenes, right, these are teammates. These are guys who hung out together off the field. You heard what Saquon Barkley had said a couple of, last week, frankly, is when he talked about saying, I have no ill will against A.J. Brown. I mean, I love A.J. Brown. I think these guys knew this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. And I think they were all thinking the sooner it happens, the better. And they knew it couldn't happen until today because of the salary cap implications that the Eagles were waiting for. They got a break from the dead cap hit, if you will. Just they have a salary cap, and if they traded him before today, it would have been $43 million off that cap, poof, gone, because they traded him, who was under contract. But instead, by waiting till today, it's $16 million off of this year's salary cap, and the rest comes off next year. So they're able to split it up over 2 years. So the players knew it wasn't going to be until today at the earliest. But I think you're going to hear a lot of them talking tomorrow, if I had to predict. We're glad it's over. We can move on now. We wish AJ the best. But we have a job to do here, and we want to win here, and we will do that with the guys that we have here. And I think that's going to be the message tomorrow. So I think they knew that this was happening. They'd already, with whatever friendships they have with A.J. Brown, which I think are still there, they knew that A.J. knew he was going to get traded. It was a matter of when, not if.
Got it. I mean, you guys all summed it up perfectly. And as you said that there too, I mean, it was, as he called it, the worst kept secret in the NFL. Yeah. So, yeah. Yep. It is what it is. We'll move on. We'll see what we do. Preseason starts August something, and then the actual season, our first game is sometime in September, right?
Yeah, first game is usually second week of September. But it is interesting, as you brought up preseason, Judea. The Eagles and Patriots are going to be practicing against each other, doing one of those joint practices where it usually lasts like a couple of days. It's going to be interesting to see A.J. Brown in Patriots gear taking on his Eagles teammates, former Eagles teammates, in that summer session. That's not that far away. We're talking about just a couple of months.
It will be interesting. I'm so excited, Scott. You don't even know, for my first Eagles season here in Philadelphia. My best friend is the biggest Eagles fan. Like, she's got Eagles sneakers. You can't play with her. So now I've got to get my merch game up. Obviously, I will not be getting an A.J. Brown jersey, but a lot of big things still ahead for the team. I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond.
Get a Devontae Smith jersey. He's a good one.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. Thank you. All right, you guys, we'll be checking in with our sports team throughout this show, because that news, even though it was something that we kind of all feel like we saw coming, everything that we thought we already knew because of all of the rumors, still, it stings just a little bit now that we know it's actually official. So we'll be seeing what you guys think. I saw you guys actually chatting with me in the comment section while our sports team was going. Brenda says, I'm not surprised about the trade. Allie says, I think we knew it was coming. But then Miss D says, OMG, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. So it is what it is. We are going to keep the ball rolling with a couple of other big things coming up. In just a second, we'll be talking about what's trending. I also want to pose to you guys my question of the night. This one hits a little personal, a little close to home. So feel free to weigh in. We'll be right back with that and more. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. In addition to the trending news of AJ Brown's trade, there's a lot going on. But first, I want to pose a question for you all. Jake, as you know, I love scrolling on social media. I am chronically online. And I saw this video. I don't know if you've gotten to see it.
Okay.
But this girl, she was at her graduation party, having a good time. It was one of those moments where, you know, they'll ask you to say a few words.
Okay.
Well, it looks like her brother, and I'm assuming it's his brother's significant other, they come up with a gift bag.
Okay.
Hand the gift bag to the girl. She opens it up, and it's a pregnancy stick.
What?
Because they're announcing that they're pregnant. She's going to be an auntie.
Okay.
Now, people in the comment section weren't very happy. They were like, this is not your time to celebrate any, like, we're celebrating her, the graduate. So my question to the audience, I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but is it inappropriate to make a personal announcement during someone else's event?
Huh. Okay, so yeah, we wanted to know what you, the audience, thought. So we ran this poll. As always, you can find it at fox29.com/go-vote under the Fox Local tab. And, you know, we just asked, is it appropriate to make a personal announcement during someone else's event? So as you can see, definitely not. Way in the lead, 82%. Yes, 9%. Depends. Leave a comment, 9%. And so we also, it just changed. So we also, you know, wanted people to weigh in, share their thoughts. So we posted it on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook, X. And again, this typically happens when people are saying no, like, they have another comment. They're just saying no, but like in a different font. So for example, as someone is saying, one person just said, bleep no. Someone is just saying no in all caps. One person is mixed and says depends on the circumstances, other individuals involved, and level of severity. It's funny because this debate, I feel like there was like some Friends episode about like a similar thing where like someone was announcing they're pregnant and like Monica was all upset because they were stealing her thunder, or like it was something like that. But this is an age-old debate. Like it's almost like going to someone's wedding and announcing your engagement.
You would get kicked out of my wedding if you ever did something like that to me. As much as I paid for, this is not your time. Sorry.
Right.
This is not your time to shine.
Right.
Sit down. This is about me. Well, me and my husband.
Right, exactly. I don't know, I guess it does depend, but it's like, do you really need to announce it at that moment? And especially in this situation, I feel like that was a little, I don't know, like presenting it as, not just announcing it, presenting it like, oh, we have a gift for you. And then it's, surprise, it's news about me. So, I don't know.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. But to be fair, this young woman, this young girl, the one who was graduating, she hasn't come out and said, I don't like this, or this made me uncomfortable. But people are kind of reading the body language. She kind of just like stood there for a while after she opened the gift.
Listen,
didn't know what to do.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. You know, maybe she is really close with the brother, you know, the brother's partner, and is like genuinely is for her a gift that she's gonna be have a niece or a nephew or like something like that. We don't know the circumstances, we don't know their relationship, so it's easy for us to kind of say, oh well, I think this. We don't obviously know all the circumstances. So
this is true. But yeah, 79% of the people at this point say definitely not. I'm shocked at the 13% that say it depends, but I get it. Kind of like you said, it really depends on how you guys feel about each other.
Yeah.
And it changed again. 13% are now saying yes.
People definitely have thoughts.
Okay, continue to weigh in. We love to hear from you guys.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Cosmo Diva says, rude, purchase your own venue. Let's see, what else here? Yes, ma'am. Tell him, sir, sit down somewhere. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, guys, keep weighing in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll be talking about this throughout the night. You know, sometimes we got to add in a little bit of lightness with some of the happy news that we have going on.
Exactly.
I love this little portion of the show.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Jake, we talked about the Eagles. What else is trending with our audience? What's Philly talking about today?
So this is, I'm really excited about this news. And it does have a Pennsylvania connection, so I feel like I'm justified to share it. Taylor Swift You know, Pennsylvania connection. She's from not too far away from here. There's been a lot of speculation recently on social media. This is kind of random to me, but I guess it like makes sense. Toy Story 5 is coming out.
Yes, it is.
And there's been a lot of speculation that she's going to have a song on the soundtrack. I don't know where it started originally, but I know that they kind of played into it a little bit. It was like they were doing the thing where they were kind of dodging questions. And then a couple days ago, a big billboard came up that said TS, which obviously Toy Story, Taylor Swift, but it had...
But would they have said TS5 if they meant?
Well, yes. So it said, the thing that really got the fans worked up is that there were 13 clouds, and she is like a thing with like 13. It's like her lucky number, whatever. So there was all this like speculation. Some people were clowning like we did with Beyonce. Other people were like, no, like it's so valid. Well, today it was valid. It's happening.
Wait. I thought the fans were just crazy.
No,
okay,
yes.
So I didn't get this piece of news.
Yes, the song is coming out.
What's it called?
It's called I Knew It, I Knew You. Yes.
I knew it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It was funny. She on her Instagram post, she was like, I knew it. Like, you knew it. So, but she's reuniting with Jack Antonoff, who she had previously worked on a lot of her older stuff with, but her most recent album, they weren't collabing. So people were like, is there bad blood? But obviously, you know, there's not, because they're coming back together. So that's a lot of people, like I was logging on looking at the trending things. Even before she announced that the song was coming out, it was still like one of the biggest trends, because you know, people especially in this area like ride hard for TS.
100.
So
People everywhere. I don't know whose fandom is crazier / scarier. The Beehive is the Swifties.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they should. They're always fighting, you know. They should come together. Like they're so.
Beyonce and T Swift. They've never had a song together.
No, I know. They should. I know. I think they're in each other's good graces. Like they just had the movies. They were at each other's premieres. Obviously, that way back when the whole VMAs incident happened. Beyonce gave up her speech to let Taylor do hers. So I feel like they're, you know, I feel like when you're that popular, few people can kind of relate. But they probably understand. Yeah, they probably understand each other.
They ever did. Could you imagine if they ever did a performance together? Or
oh gosh, I would be out the next day. Let's just say that.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to keep up with all things trending, get you guys some more of your actual news, you know, some of the things you guys care about in terms of, you know, what's going to affect you personally. But that's what we wanted to bring you in terms of trending topics. And then, of course, our question of the night. Yes. Keep that in mind. We'll be asking you later on as well.
Yes.
Jake, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, guys, keep in mind, we are also following this big situation. Berks County lost one of their bravest officers. We learned that Kristen Yeager lost her life not too long ago at the end of May. They say that she was driving, responding to a scene when she crashed. She was rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, she did not make it. We had been reporting on this for quite some time now, and now we're hearing that there's going to be a celebration of her life of sorts. Community members are getting together, lining the streets at 8 o'clock, literally just 10 minutes from now. We're expecting a procession. I want to get right out to one of our reporters, Ellen. Ellen rushed to this area where we're hearing that this big procession is going to take place. Ellen, I see some of the setup, the pomp and circumstance behind you. What are you hearing from the people out there?
Hey Judea, hey everyone. Yeah, this procession is getting ready to start about 8 o'clock, but people have been lining up for almost an hour. You can see the firefighters are here. People are lined up along Penn Avenue here in West Reading, and they are getting ready for this procession for fallen officer Kristen Yeager. And so many people want to be here to pay their respects. And this death of this officer is really hitting people so hard here in the whole Berks County area. Officer Yeager died in a car accident while responding to a call just before 8 o'clock Friday night in Earl Township. It's on Shoemaker and Manatawny Road. Now, Officer Yeager, we just talked to her cousin, and her cousin's wife. And he said she has 3 young children. She's 42 years old. And just another tragic part to this story, she just lost her dad 6 weeks ago. I mean, just so tragic. Now, the mayor of Reading is asking people to wear blue ribbons and put out blue lights along the procession route. It will start at Reading Hospital. That's just about, 2 or 3 minutes from here. And police officers, firefighters will process down Penn Avenue and then 422, and then they will end up at the funeral home. But again, you can see so many people out here already, children, people of all ages. We talked to one woman. We went out to the scene, photojournalist and I, Aaron Sachs. We went out to the scene of the accident, and we talked to a woman, Donna, who was there that night. She said she was driving, and she believes the officer, she saw her, and she said she was, rushing to an emergency call. And let's hear from her right now if we have that sound. Okay, it sounds like we don't have that that sound from Donna ready, but Donna was so upset because she said she wasn't sure what happened. She wasn't sure if this officer was involved in a car crash, but she just saw all this commotion and emergency vehicles, and she was praying that it wasn't Officer Yeager. But when she found out that it was, she was devastated, and she was just so very sad that she went to the police department to just give them $20 to help this woman's family. But again, that's the scene out here, Judea, right now. So you can just see all the people, and this is just a small portion of where this procession is happening. It's a long area, far area. I'm not articulating this properly, but it's, again, starts at the hospital, goes down Penn Avenue, along 422, and then will eventually wind up, it's along the Perkiomen corridor, and they will wind up at Lutz Funeral Home. But again, people we talked to, strangers who are here, they said they've never met this officer, but they wanted to obviously be here just to pay their respects for how much she did for the community and how much all police officers do. So we will be here, and we will be showing everybody, we will be getting video of that procession. Again, we did talk to her cousin, who said he loved her, she's a wonderful wife and mother, and that he hopes people, of course, remember her as a police officer, but also just as someone who was a great person. So that's what's happening out here. The wind just really started kicking up, but everybody is just lined up along, we're here again, I said, on Penn Avenue in the West Reading area.
Got you. You guys, it's now 7:54. That means in about 6 minutes, that's when things are supposed to kick off. I do see the traffic still following behind you. Are they going to cut it off right at 8 o'clock, or how is this going to work?
I don't know. We haven't talked to anybody about the logistics, but we know the hospital is coming. They'll be coming from this direction. So I believe that they will cut off the traffic any minute now. We don't really know the logistics of that, but we're thinking that that's what's happening. But you could just see already the lights that are, all the police, the cars that are here. But we saw so many police cars pass us in this parking lot because, again, we are just on one small section of where this procession will be happening. So, yeah, the cars, as you said, are still going right now, but I'm sure they're getting ready to stop them any minute. But they will be processing on the other side. Is that west? Is that west? They'll be coming west. So that's what I can tell you right now, Judea. So we're going to get ready to make sure we get some of that procession as it starts at the hospital.
Absolutely. About 5 minutes away, you guys. Ellen, I'm going to let you guys go so you can get set up right there on the grounds. You guys don't worry. We also have a helicopter that should be flying over this procession. That way we'll be able to show you some aerial coverage. We'll be able to show you what's going on down on the grounds. And one thing that was really interesting, Ellen mentioned that person that she got to speak to, Donna, who was able to speak a little bit more to who Officer Kristen Yeager was, what she meant to her family, the community, all of that good stuff. I want to let you guys listen in to what Donna had to say.
She was behind me. She was coming pretty quick. I was on Covered Bridge Road, and by the time I got on the 73, I couldn't see her vehicle at all. And I didn't know what happened, and I was praying that it wasn't her, but it was. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. Very, very sad, because I was a mother of 6, and I can only imagine how she was feeling, how everything is. I stopped at the police station yesterday, and I gave the officer $20 to give to their family. So
that's how much it touched you.
Yes, yes.
So as you can imagine, a lot is going on right now. We actually just heard that our helicopter has fired up. They're getting out there to the scene. Again, we're about 4 minutes away from when that procession is set to begin. When our chopper is in position, we will bring you live pictures, live video from there. And actually, wow, they actually got up pretty quickly. So you're seeing what looks to be perhaps the hearse leaving that area. I do believe that I heard Ellen say they were going to start at the hospital and find their way to the funeral home. So you see that hearse, they have an official escort. They have just now gotten out to the street, and they will continue going on. We're gonna bring you guys live coverage. We'll be able to just watch the helicopter move in real time, so you guys can see what's going on from up here. Meanwhile, our team is down on the grounds. When they do pass their area, we'll be able to switch to that camera and show you as they are passing by what that's like. Ellen has been able to talk to multiple people on the grounds there. You could see, as she mentioned, there were young people, older people, people who were very close to her, people who just want to show their support. It's never, obviously never a good thing when we are losing an officer. Definitely a very hard thing for many communities, especially when that officer meant so much to the people who live there. One thing that I can say though is when something like this happens, it is heartwarming just to see how the community comes together and how they do it so quickly. In my time as a journalist, I have seen fundraisers be put out. I've seen restaurants, businesses donating their proceeds just to make sure that the family is okay, especially when officers who lose their lives have young children. I have seen multiple community members who didn't even know the officer just come together. So sometimes it's beautiful to see that happen. So there on the ground, you're seeing our camera that was set up with Ellen and our photojournalist, Aaron Sachs. You can see some of those officers passing through their area. Meanwhile, the hearse does continue to fly overhead. If you guys are just now joining in with us, we are honoring the life of Central Berks officer Kristen Yeager. This procession was expected to get started at 8 o'clock, but it looks like they did just take off right now while we were all watching. Unfortunately, on May 29th, so just a few days ago, Officer Yeager was responding to a call. Somehow, some way, she ended up crashing the vehicle. We're not sure the complete details of that exact situation, but we do know she was rushed to the hospital, and unfortunately, she did not pull through. She lost her life that day. And so community members, as you can see, they're lining the streets. You see the first responders, they've got it cut off. We saw them just fly underneath that American flag, which has been flying. By the way, Governor Josh Shapiro ordered flags to fly at half staff. And we also know there has been a memorial set up at the police department. You can actually still go out there if you would like to. They're asking people to show their support, and that could be leaving flowers, cards, anything that you can, just to show, again, the family, Officer Yeager's friends, Officer Yeager's colleagues, that you care. That is something that you are still able to do. So as we continue to watch the procession come on through, we're expecting them to be making their way to the funeral home, where Officer Yeager will be resting until her official services and burial. So now you can see all of those people decked out in blue. That is the color that they have been shining on buildings all throughout the city. They ask people to come dressed in those colors. Steve, by any chance, do we have the ability to turn on the sound from the ground shot, just to see if they're also firing their sirens? I'm just curious. It's just little natural sounds, so you guys can hear what's going on the grounds. I was wondering if maybe they were playing their sirens, but it does not appear that that's the case. But as you can see, it looks like more officers have joined the scene. You can see them following through, where people are wearing their blue sweatshirts, t-shirts, holding signs, showing their support for their officers. And then on the other side of the street, you can actually see the officers saluting these vehicles as they ride through. This is all taking place in Berks County, just so you all know. I believe the city there is called Reading, there in Pennsylvania. One thing that I would like to point out from the original accident, we're hearing that there were no other injuries in this case, that unfortunately Officer Yeager's, fortunately or unfortunately, Officer Yeager's was the only injury and now death that we know of. Now there you can see all of those officials, agencies parked on the side of the road, clearing the way as they make their way through. This is a huge celebration of life, a big ceremony, procession that is happening now as we speak. As they continue to make their way through and they continue to drive underneath that American flag that has been flying in honor of Officer Yeager, there are some other facts that I wanted to share with you all. I think it's interesting to see how people are describing her. Again, we are keeping up to date with her legacy, who she was as a person. One thing that I found, again, very interesting is someone said that her legacy of service and sacrifice would live on forever. They say she was a person who was called to protect and serve every single day, and she would honor that by placing the safety of others before her very own safety. They say that she was deeply committed to her badge, her fellow officers, and they go on to say that the citizens she served will never be forgotten. Another person who knew her well said that she was filled with courage. She was so compassionate. She had unwavering dedication to her job, to her community. As you can see there, for a second, we had people of all ages lined up together, a whole family that went out there to show their respects, pay their respects, and show how much they care. We also have a statement from the Central Berks Police Department that goes on to say, "Rest easy, Officer Yeager. Your watch has ended, but your legacy of service and sacrifice will live on forever." Her end of watch was May 29th, 2026. The department says that they're mourning alongside the family, her friends, and any of the fellow officers who worked alongside her. We don't have any information just yet on when a funeral could be planned. Whether or not the public will be invited to that is still up for debate, and we'll let you all know once we do have that information. But there you have, as we're continuing to follow along, you can see right in the middle of this procession, you see the hearse that is carrying Officer Yeager that is surrounded by 4 police escorts, and then of course you have multiple vehicles in the line. You can see the path that they're planning to take here. That is our Skyfox flying over, and you can see on the upcoming overpass there is yet another American flag flying proudly, waving in the distance, getting ready to say hello and their final goodbye to Officer Yeager. I believe we are seeing lining officers, maybe even firefighters as well, on that overpass, waiting to see the hearse come through. I always think it's interesting as well when you have a procession going on, there's obviously going to be traffic following in the opposite direction. But for me personally, when I see situations like this, whether it is an officer procession like this or even just a funeral procession coming on, you know, you can see the flags. You always know when people are riding along together. Personally, I say a little prayer when I see the cars coming through, but I wonder how some of these other vehicles as these drivers are responding. It does look like traffic slowed down just a little bit. I want to read some of the kind comments that we have been getting in our social media platforms that you guys are leaving here on TikTok. Brenda says, sending my deepest sympathies, condolences, and prayers to the family. Tracy says, may the officer rest in peace. And then it looks like we also have some people who are just now coming into the live stream chat who aren't clear on what exactly is happening here. This is a live processional riding through the streets of Pennsylvania. I believe this is the city of Reading. That Central Berks officer, Kristen Yeager, she is in the back of the hearse that you see in the middle of your screen there. Our Skyfox is flying over a live procession. It is happening as we speak. So if you are unfamiliar with this case, just a couple of days ago, this officer from Central Berks, she lost her life. They say that she was responding to a call. Somehow, some way, there was a crash. She was rushed to the hospital, but she did not make it. They say that, again, she was responding to a call on May 29th. That is the day they're also saying marks her end of watch. There were no other injuries in this case here. You're taking a look at her there on your screen. Governor Josh Shapiro, when he learned of her death, ordered all flags here to be flown at half staff. Now you see that there are flags hanging over from overpasses, from intersections. You see people lining the streets decked out in blue because that is the color they wanted to represent her job, to represent who she was to the community. We also know that buildings there in Reading are also going to be lit up, illuminated in the color blue as well. Again, all just to show support, to honor her legacy, to show the family and friends and any of her colleagues that they're not alone in this difficult situation. And so again, our Skyfox is flying over, showing you this live procession as it goes on. They started, I believe, at the hospital. They're making their way to the funeral home. And just in case any of you guys are interested in showing your support as well, I heard that they are accepting memorials, anything that you'd like in terms of cards, flowers, maybe even candles, anything that you would like the family to have just to show your own support, whether you knew her or not. They have that set up at the police department. There's a vehicle. This usually happens when there is an officer killed in the line of duty. There is a police vehicle that is set out, it's roped off, so you all know that is the one that you're supposed to decorate or leave your offering for, whatever it is that you want to call the piece that you'll be adding to the memorial. That's where you can do that at, and it is still up as we speak. Wow, you can see just how many people have decided to come through, and this is a long stretch, by the way. A very long stretch that we're keeping our eyes on here. So just to know that there are people who decided to come out, share their Monday night with her and her family, I'm sure that means a lot to the people who cared about her the most. Got another comment in here from Sunny who says, rest in peace. All right, so those of you who may just now be joining us, let me refresh you on where we are at and what we are watching, because I do know that some of you are a little confused here. We are watching a procession for a fallen officer. Her name is Kristen Yeager. She served Central Berks Police Department. She was out responding to a call, driving when there was a crash. She was rushed to the hospital, but she lost her life in this incident. So starting at the hospital that she was taken to, there has been a police procession. We're talking about a large group of officers who worked with her. We're also seeing some people from other agencies, the fire department as well. They are helping bring her first. She's going to head to the police department. Then she's going to end at the funeral home. So we have been seeing people lining the streets, and I mean, this has been a far drive. This is the city of Reading here in Pennsylvania that we're talking about. Again, Central Berks, Berks County, just so you guys are a little more familiar with where we're talking about and who we're talking about. This all took place on May 29th, so just a couple of days ago. It's still very much so fresh in the minds of all the people who live there. So again, we're seeing lots of people lining the streets, showing their support. We've gotten to see them drive under overpasses where you could see fire trucks parked close together. They've erected a flag that's flying and waving in the wind as she drives by underneath them. We are also seeing other agencies weighing in, talking a little bit more about what they knew about her. People saying she was compassionate, she was courageous, she was dedicated to her craft, she was dedicated to making the community that she lived in and served a better place. We're hearing that when she died, she left behind a husband and I believe 3 children. Police have asked any of the businesses, the stores, all of that, restaurants, to shine blue lights if they could, if they happen to be along this route. And so far we are seeing that. We're also seeing people coming out decked in blue gear. We're talking t-shirts, sweatshirts, holding signs, just showing their support for the officers who lost one of their very own. And of course also we're seeing them show their support for the family. If you were able to see just a second ago, we drove past a large group of people who were standing along on the side of the road. They've asked everybody to come out. This started at 8 o'clock, you guys. We have had live coverage on it. We are not going to come down until this procession ends. So again, it started at the hospital that she was rushed to. They're going to go to the police department that she worked for, where there is a memorial, a growing memorial outside. You guys are invited, welcomed to bring something, put something on that memorial, add to it if you would like to. They're going to end this procession at the funeral home where she will be taken inside. And once again, just in case you are just now joining us, we have so many people in our live stream chat. Surrounded by says, my deepest condolences. We've got another person asking what happened. Don't worry, I will get into that real quick. And then we've got Dilip saying, rest in peace. We have a lot of people sending hearts all throughout our live stream chat. Someone said, this is just so sad. Hi, I'm from Canada. So sorry for the family and friends, coworkers for their loss. So again, if you are just now joining in here, our Skyfox, that is our helicopter, is flying over a live procession happening in Reading, Pennsylvania. The person who died is an officer by the name of Kristen Yeager. We're hearing that on May 29th, just a couple of days ago, she was working, so she was heading to a call, and we know there was some sort of crash. We're gonna put a pin in the story because I do believe they have just made it to the police department. This is a big point in this journey. This is going to be officers who are currently there, their first hello, their last goodbye to her. This is the hearse that we were just focused on as that procession continues. It looks like they have officially said their goodbyes. Now there is a memorial right outside that department as well, just so you all know. As you can see, the flags are flying at half-staff. Governor Josh Shapiro here in Pennsylvania did order that. There are multiple police officers, different agencies involved in this procession that we've been keeping our eyes on. Now, back to the story of what happened. So they say that it was that call. She went out to respond to it. There was a crash. She was rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, she did not pull through. So we're hearing that May 29th, when this situation happened, it was also officially her end of watch. Seeing all those officers salute the hearse as they make their way through the streets. Their goal, their ultimate goal, is to end at the funeral home where she will be taken in. But I'm seeing some more information on who Officer Yeager was outside of the uniform. It looks like she went to Shippensburg University because they are mourning her loss. She was a student who played field hockey for the Raiders. They also say that she was a graduate with a degree in criminal justice. She went on to earn her master's degree in administration of justice, also from Shippensburg. This all in December of 2007. They say she was from Reading. She served her very own community. She had gotten to Shippensburg, that university, in 2002 after graduating from Exeter Township High School. She began as a forward with the field hockey team before turning over to defense, where she emerged as a starting center for the Raiders. By 2005, she was a starting defender and a senior leader on their very first field hockey team. She was one of the first teams to win a Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference championship, so very big deal. Not only was she good at her job as an officer, but clearly she had a love for sports as well. The Central Berks Regional Police Department has issued their own statement in regards to her, saying Officer Yeager served our community with courage, compassion, and unwavering dedication. She answered the call to protect and serve each day, placing the safety of others above her own. Her commitment to her badge, her fellow officers, and the citizens she served will never be forgotten. Once again, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff while the community mourns her. We also know that businesses along the procession that we are keeping our eyes on here, they have been asked to light up their buildings with the color blue. We have seen so many community members, I'm at this point probably hundreds at this point, wearing blue to show their support. It looks like they've gotten to another crossroads of their journey here. Let me take a look at where they are at. I believe we have made it officially to the funeral home, you guys. Yes, I believe we made it to the funeral home, and this is supposed to be the last stop there. These officers have been aiding along in this procession, helping to make sure her body got to the funeral home safely, but also as a sign of respect, showing their support for the family, for all of the colleagues, coworkers who wanted to make sure that they were keeping up with everything that's going on with her and her situation. This was one of those moments where everybody was able to pay their respects in one foul swoop. City of Reading's mayor also issued his own statement. If you don't mind, I'd like to read it to you. It says, the City of Reading joins communities across Berks County in mourning the loss of Officer Kristen Yeager. Officer Yeager dedicated her life to serving and protecting others, and her loss is felt throughout our region. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family, friends, fellow officers, and everyone grieving this tragedy. To honor Officer Yeager's service and sacrifice, the City of Reading will illuminate City Hall, the Penn Street Bridge, and the Pagoda in blue this evening, June 1st of 2026. We are grateful for her service and will never forget the sacrifice she made in the line of duty. Officer Yeager left behind a husband, 3 young children, plenty of other family members, friends, and of course the entire law enforcement family, those officers there for Central Berks, but also neighboring counties. We've seen firefighters join in, we've seen ambulances, other first responders all lining the streets to show their support. So as we know, when I say entire law enforcement family, we're talking about all first responders in general. They're all mourning her loss. Officials have asked that you all keep Officer Yeager's family, her friends, and members of the Central Berks Regional Police Department in your thoughts and prayers. And as you can see, some of them are still making their way around that bend, coming on into the funeral home parking lot. It has been simply incredible just to see how many people came out to support her. This procession began a little before 8 o'clock, and so for about 30 minutes of a ride, you can imagine how long that would take you to walk, but we've seen people out on the grounds with their entire families, holding up signs, sharing their condolences. We know that there's a growing memorial at the police department itself. You see Lutz Funeral Home on the sign there, showing you exactly where we are at in Pennsylvania. But so many people have come out. And as I mentioned before, people have described her as being courageous, compassionate, and dedicated to her work, to her community. We're seeing more prayer emojis from Michael from Mall. We've got Dave saying he's praying for the family. We've got someone sending a candle emoji, a Canadian flag, as well as a heart. Norby says, my condolences to the family. Thank you guys for joining us here on, these people are specifically on TikTok, but we have people streaming us from all over right now. We've got people sending the salute emoji. Diane saying sorry for the family, co-workers' loss. Surrounded by saying my deepest condolences. A lot of people weighing in as we see that procession continue to make its way to its final stop, the funeral home. Johnny Boy weighing in, saying God rest her soul. Bullet says condolences to the family. Polly says God bless, sending strength from the UK. Yeah says this is terribly sad. Thank you guys all for commenting, joining us in as we watch them make their final stop. Right now, you all, we don't have any information on an official funeral. We do know that this was supposed to end at the Lutz Funeral Home. We are now looking in Mount Penn. So we started in Reading, we're now in Mount Penn area. Mount Penn's mayor said that the department that she worked for was founded in 1993, and they had actually never had a line of duty death before this. So they say that this is completely new to them. They don't have a blueprint for this. They don't have the answers of how they're supposed to come to terms with this grief that they're all feeling. It goes on to say, we're just trying to move forward and put one foot in front of the next. On Sunday, there was a prayer service for Officer Yeager that was held right outside of the Central Berks Regional Police Headquarters, where that memorial vehicle is, where if you guys would like to leave cards, flowers, etc., that is still out there. Now, I do believe this is just about the end of this procession. Our Skyfox is going to continue flying over it, but I do believe that they are going to end pretty soon. So we can come back here to me here in studio. Again, thank you all so much for joining us, talking to us a little bit more and listening in to what was happening out there in Reading, Pennsylvania, making its way to Mount Penn. This is processional we've all been keeping our eyes on. But you know, over everything else, I just want to extend my condolences as well to the Central Berks Regional Police Department, as well as Officer Yeager's family and friends. As I mentioned before, she's leaving behind a husband and 3 small children who are going to have to come to terms with what happened here. And as you could see from the picture that we were showing you all before, she's very young. So again, my condolences for the family, for the friends, and for all of her colleagues as well who have to battle this grief. You guys, we are going to take a step back. When we come back, remember there's a lot of news to get into today. We've got a lot of breaking news, from things happening at the White House to what's happening right in our own backyard. The Philadelphia Eagles have officially let go of A.J. Brown with a trade. We'll be talking more about everything that's going on when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We are keeping up with all things going on all across the country, but also what's happening right in our backyard. So as you may have heard, I mean, This has been a long-standing rumor. Everybody's been wondering, is it true, is it true, is it true? And now we finally got the answer. Yes, it is true. The Philadelphia Eagles have moved to trade A.J. Brown, and that's where I want to bring in our sports team's Breland Moore. Breland, you were out and about when this news hit us here in the newsroom. You actually got to talk to some football players who had a little bit more to say, but I want to ask you first. Are you surprised at all by this news?
No, not at all. I think the writing was on the wall. This has been reported for months and months that a trade was in the works with the New England Patriots, and June 1st was going to be the decided moving period for A.J. Brown. This could not a shock at all. I think Ike Reese, who is a former Eagles linebacker, and I were talking earlier, and he called it the worst kept secret in all of sports, and I fully agree. It was time at this point. A.J., I don't think A.J. has been happy here for quite some time, and I think for me personally, I could kind of tell the writing on the wall after the Super Bowl win. And he said, I thought I would feel more fulfilled, and I wasn't. I didn't feel the sense of satisfaction. I don't know if AJ is more motivated by his personal stat line than, winning championships with a team. That is very real for some guys. They are more concerned about their own personal stats, which, hey, that's fine. You're a competitor. You're in this business, and you're playing that sport at a high level because you are a competitor, and you compete with yourself and you compete with other people, and you want to be the best. I understand that. In a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, there's too many stars for somebody to be chasing a stat line, and he has not been happy here for quite some time. I had a sneaking suspicion even before the reports were coming out about New England that AJ would not be an Eagle coming into this season, and sure enough, the New England Patriots are taking him in exchange for a 2028 first-round selection and a 2027 fifth-round selection. So it was the talk of the town today, though. Let me tell you, I was out at Brian Dawkins's Impact Foundation, their celebrity golf outing, and this is its 5th year. Jason and I do it every single year. We go out and we have a blast, but every person from the time I arrived till the news break, that's all anyone wanted to talk about was A.J. Brown. When's it coming? Do you think it's going to happen today? Is it going to be tomorrow? When is this happening? And when the news did break, I felt like it was a collective. Everyone stopped. Everyone was on their phone. Everyone's talking about it. And I actually got a chance to talk with Brian Dawkins about A.J. Brown. And take a listen here from our conversation earlier.
So the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation, we want to bless single parents, the child in the household, with what we call transformational moments. So specific things that they would want to do that they don't have the funds for, we would pay for the adult in the household and the children in the household to do these things. But we also do specific things in high schools and with cerebral wellness. I don't call it mental health, I call it cerebral wellness, with cerebral wellness programs. And we also have financial literacy programs that we offer for young people and adults if you want to come out. So it's so many other things that we do. I don't have time to go through all of those things, but that's kind of the bread and butter, if you will.
Obviously, a very interesting day here. Your reaction to A.J. Brown?
Well, I mean, we saw it. It was like a slow-moving thing, right? We kind of saw it coming. But again, I always put myself in my shoes as a player. As a player, my philosophy and my thought process was always whoever walks in the door is who I'm going to war with.
Oh, okay, so that was the actual wrong clip. But at the 6 o'clock news, I talked to Brian, and he said kind of the same thing of this is something that was just swirling around, and now guys like Devontae Smith have their time to shine. And everyone that I spoke to today agreed that this is something that ultimately will be a positive. Maybe the talent in the room might be lesser, but considering now they can just flush this, move on, and just focus on football from here on out.
Got you. I'm just curious what you think. You've actually gotten to watch them play like up close and whatnot. You've also gotten to see them practice. Do you have any indication or any idea that because he's gone now, it might give some other people like a chance to shine? Do you get what I mean by that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. So Devontae Smith is officially the wide receiver number 1. And I think quietly, Smitty was having himself a career year last year before AJ decided to throw some temper tantrums and claim that he wasn't getting the ball enough. And then there was a sense that they were forcing AJ the ball more than what was best for the team. And Smitty's numbers therefore declined, shortly after that. And I think now that he's been ready for quite some time, I think, to take that step and have that position. And now that he's able to do that, I think it'll be great. Makai Lemon, who is their newest draft pick, I think he's, obviously very young, needs to develop a little bit more. But Lemon, 100%, is a first-round draft pick for a reason. And I think he will be more than willing to rise to that challenge as well. But yeah, this is Devontae Smith's time to shine now, and he is the top dog in that receiver core, and I think he's more than ready and able to rise to that occasion.
Okay. Now, I know other big news that came out, Rams, and that actually has an impact on us here in Philadelphia too, right?
Sure, I guess they're in the NFC, so maybe. But yeah, Myles Garrett, that was also a shock as well. Cleveland Browns. He did have a no trade clause in there, so the fact that he was traded to the Rams in exchange for Jared Verse and 3 picks was very shocking, and that was the other thing that was on everybody's mind. But yeah, they're not necessarily in the division, but they are in the conference, so it somewhat impacts the Eagles, but not like he would be going to Dallas or anything like that. Got you.
I got to ask Marcus exactly what he meant. He said that he felt that it would heavily impact the Eagles. So I'll have to ask him what. Yeah, I'll have to ask him what he meant.
Yeah, I mean, they're not divisional opponents, so conference-wise in the playoffs, sure. I think the division or the conference gets a little bit more competitive having a player of that caliber. But okay. Yeah.
All right. It's all good. Hey, you got out there, you were talking to a lot of different people. I know your eyes have been like a little bit of everywhere. In addition to talking to some former athletes, you guys on the Fantastic Sports Show actually asked your audience too. How did they feel about it? We've got to pull it up if we can get that.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can get the go vote. And this is a lot closer than I actually thought it was. I think the majority, I'm firmly in the love it category. I think AJ's time here very much ran out. He was very not happy here. And the antics and the actions that he was producing last year, let's just put it that way, actively was a distraction. And for so long, there has been this narrative of AJ Brown wanting a trade, AJ Brown. Enough now. I'm ready to put it to bed. The players that I spoke to today, all 3 of them, Brian Dawkins, Ike Reese, Javon Curse, they all said the exact same thing, that enough now. I'm happy that it's finally done, and then we can move on. And that was the sense that I got from the players at OTAs. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, they all kind of said, we don't have beef with AJ. We don't have any problems with AJ. But there was that sense of, okay, I'm tired of talking about this. Let me go do my job. Let me get 1% better every day. Let me do my 1/11th on this team and focus on football instead of the antics that are going on in the locker room. And so by moving away from AJ Brown and having him on a different team, he gets what he wants. He wanted to be with Mike Vrabel. He wanted to be a New England Patriot. Congratulations, young man. Now that's all you, boo. And for the Eagles, they're able to just focus on the task at hand, which is winning football games, not your own personal stat line.
Yeah. I got the same impression listening back to your interviews and also listening to the press conferences as well. It's been interesting to me. Scott says that tomorrow will be another opportunity to ask them about this, and I have a feeling they're not looking forward to those questions at all.
Right. So OTAs continue tomorrow, and it will be addressed. They know it, but also I think there has to be some sort of relief from the players, right? When this is the last time you're going to be asked this question. I definitely feel like it's going to be a positive.
No, the hope. This is the last time to ask about this. Breland, thank you so much for weighing in with us, bringing us also a little piece from the Fantastic Sports Show. If you guys are not already watching it, that should be on your radar. What time is it on again?
6:30 weeknights.
6:30 weeknights. All right, Breland, appreciate you.
You got it.
You guys, we are going to take a quick break. I saw someone in the comment section ask, could we also put out the word about the baseball player who was hurt severely during a baseball game? His name is Xavier Taylor. Don't worry, I've got more information on how he's doing, how the community is trying to come out and show their appreciation for him, show the family that they are there for them any way they can be. We'll have more on that when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Got some big local news to bring you all out to. First and foremost, Delaware is asking if you recognize some burglars to please step up and say something. So we're talking about Lewis, Delaware here. We're hearing that multiple businesses were hit in an overnight bust. So far they're saying that this included Go Brit, Cabanas Restaurant, Tienda La Medicion, and the Listening Booth. They're hearing that around 6:30 a.m. about 2 days ago, police were called to those areas because of some, when I quote, commercial burglaries and attempted burglaries. They're saying that 2 unknown suspects forced their way inside these businesses. In some cases, they tried to get in but couldn't. They either stole money or attempted to steal money. They're also saying that there were other additional incidences in this particular area within a similar nature at Bushell's Sports Bar and Grill, also Cafe Pink Blossom, and Matt's Fish Camp. So Delaware State Police, they are investigating this. They say if you recognize those 2 people or you heard anything about this, please contact them or one of their detectives. They're hoping that you may even be interested in sending them a private message on Facebook. They say they can accept tips there as well. So keeping their eyes on multiple burglaries all in one night or morning, however you want to put it, out in Lewis, Delaware. All right, we also are keeping up with this search for a young boy, a swimmer, 14 years old, who went missing while swimming out there in Cape May, New Jersey. We're talking about the Wildwood area there. They say that one young person was also rushed to the hospital. A couple of others seem to be okay, but they have not found this missing boy just yet. They haven't given us his name because, of course, he's a minor, but that search is still going on. I don't believe that we got any indication that they found him yet. So again, they say the current status of the missing 14-year-old boy is unknown. No other information on what caused he or the other swimmers that I mentioned to be in distress, but that is the latest information that we have there on that. Now, interesting story here. I'm hearing that there is a congressman from our area who's been missing from Congress for months now, and now people are starting to get concerned because where in the world is Tom Keene Jr.? He's a Republican from New Jersey. He went missing or stopped going to Congress, they say, because of some medical issues. Now, that was about 3 months ago. People are now asking, since his medical absence has stretched over the last couple of months, he hasn't come back, they haven't heard anything from him. They say that they're concerned now about his constituents, so the people who voted him into office, and what this would mean. But some other officials are saying that we're expecting him to come back soon. So he represents the 7th Congressional District in New Jersey, which is the suburbs, small towns. It actually also includes President Donald Trump's Bedminster golf course, a fun fact there. But this is what we know about him. You know, he's 75 years old. Excuse me, sorry, I got my facts messed up there. If he were to step down, there is somebody who could step up. He's a 75-year-old retired engineer from Garwood. His name is Bruce Patterson. He's a Democrat. He would like to come take the spot, but he does say he hopes that Keene Jr. does come back soon. So, you know, it's kind of like a waiting game, Republicans and Democrats just seeing what's going on with him. But again, because this is a medical absence, I think the thing that we should all be focused on solely is he okay? And, you know, can he come back in good spirits, or can he at least just be healthy? So I think a lot of people are just worried about how he's doing physically. All right, we have all been keeping our eyes on Delaney Hall, also in New Jersey. We hear that this is that ICE detention center, that facility that people have been protesting outside of for days now. Almost, I think at this point, we have reached a week. You can see that things have at times escalated. Sometimes it's very calm out there. Either way it goes, lots of people are showing their concerns about what's going on inside the facility. Some people have said that they're concerned that detainees are starving themselves. They also say that they're not getting the medical help that they need. Meanwhile, people on the other side of the aisle say that none of that is true at all, that they actually are treated extremely well in Delaney Hall. So there was a curfew put into place to make sure that stuff like what you're seeing on your screen here couldn't happen. But we are hearing that some protesters have already been arrested after violating the very first curfew that was put into place this past weekend. There was a chaotic slew of demonstrations out there in Newark this weekend at Delaney Hall Detention Facility. Again, we know police made multiple arrests as of late Sunday night after protesters violated that newly implemented curfew. Meanwhile, Secretary Markwayne Mullin was actually asked about how people are taking this whole situation that's taking place at the Delaney Hall. I want to let you listen in just a little earlier on. He weighed in on his thoughts on that.
Yes.
One officer was just bit in the arm. Then you had another young agitator who was just arrested for telling the officer he's going to kill him and his family.
That's right.
What are you specifically doing to protect these ICE officers who are just trying to do their job?
Well, first of all, we have zero tolerance. The president and I have talked about this. If you verbally assault our officers, if you attack our vehicles, if you attack our property, you attack the person themselves, we will arrest you. We have absolutely zero issue with you exercising your First Amendment in a peaceful protest. But when you're threatening the lives of an officer, that's verbal assault. When you threaten the lives of their family, that's verbal assault. When you spit on an officer, when you put hands on an officer, when you touch our vehicles, that is assaulting federal property and assaulting a federal officer, and we have zero tolerance. We will arrest you. What I think the best thing that's happened at the detention center in New Jersey right now is the fact that state police finally was able to respond when the Governor Sherrill, allowed them to. And it wasn't that state police and local law enforcement didn't want to help. They just were told not to help. We see over and over again in these sanctuary cities and sanctuary states where law enforcement officers, they want to do their job. That's why they signed up to do their job. But so often you have radical left leadership that doesn't allow them to do so. But when they did show up, they quickly realized these aren't peaceful protesters that the radical left politicians were telling you about. These were individuals that were well organized. We've arrested individuals that came in from Portland, not from New Jersey, came from Portland to lead. We've seen that they've been well supplied. We've seen Antifa flags being flown. And once the state police came out, and which, by the way, awesome group of guys, they understand crowd control very well, and they started pushing the individuals back after they warned them, started making arrests. You saw that the situation quickly got under control. And for us, when we first started calling, they were simply saying they didn't have the resources. And it's interesting to me that they finally found the resources and started clearing their streets. We can control our building. We can provide security for our own building. But if the city and state streets, that is their job to do. However, we will do it if we have to protect our employees, to protect the detainees coming in and out, and protecting the property if required to. But right now we have great cooperation, and we hope that continues.
All right, so you heard Secretary Markwayne Mullin weigh in there. Really interesting as we keep our eyes on everything that's happening with that particular facility. Listen, there are a couple more headlines that I want to get through with you guys as it pertains to some of these stories that you have even asked me about in our comment section. Maddie Brandt said, could we all pray for Xavier Taylor? So if that's your first time hearing his name, Xavier Taylor is a young boy, he plays baseball. We heard that during a game, he was actually hit with a baseball and was severely injured during that particular incident. He's been rushed to the hospital. They're expecting to do some work to make sure that he can come home and, will be healthy. But we are all keeping our eyes on him, on his family, friends. We've been hearing about a bunch of different fundraisers. There was one, I believe that they were only trying to raise like a couple $1,000s, and I do believe the last time I checked, it had like exponentially, it not only just reached what they were supposed to make, but exponentially they went above and beyond. But also there is a fundraiser from Happy Scoops that we saw on Facebook. They are saying anybody who comes in and buy some ice cream. Happy Scoops will be donating 100% of their profits this Wednesday, June 3rd, directly to Xavier's family. So every purchase would help provide some support as they focus on what matters most, which of course is Xavier's recovery. Again, this will be Wednesday, June 3rd. If you buy ice cream between 4:30 to 8:30 p.m., all of that money will go towards Xavier's family. This is the Happy Scoops located on 300 White Horse Road in Voorhees. They also have a Facebook page if you'd like to learn a little bit more. I saw in the comment section someone asked, you know, what if we can't make it to the ice cream facility or ice cream shop, could we still donate money? And they said yes, they could arrange that. They asked that they would DM the companies privately. So that, I guess, would be an option as well. But the big thing here is, you know, go out, enjoy some ice cream, take the kids out, enjoy yourselves. That money will help that young boy be able to pull through and help the family pay those medical costs and also help him get back home. All right, let's see. We've got about 5 minutes. A couple of other ones that I want to run with you as well. Don't know if you heard, if we can now go on over to Pennsylvania, but PECO says that they will be raising their rates by about 3.1%. And I don't know about you, anytime I hear a headline that affects my pockets, what's going on with my money, I want to hear a little bit more. So we're hearing from Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission that electricity prices will change. They will also affect the electric distribution companies that cause PECO's cost per kilowatt to increase. This is while the summer heat is coming. We got to hear a meteorologist say that we're coming up on a heat wave, so you probably want to crank up your fans or your AC units. This is something that you'll all have to keep in mind as well. Now, that 3.1% increase in price is probably going to bring us out to about $5, like literally just under, maybe $4.94 per month. Maybe not that much, but if you budget to a T, like I know a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, so if you budget to a T, this is going to be something that you want to know. So I just want to make sure that we are all keeping up together on what's going on there. But keep in mind, PECO originally actually said they wanted a 12.5% rate hike, but they revoked it after speaking to Governor Josh Shapiro. So I guess 3.1% was the compromise there. Last but not least, if you live in Lower Merion, officials say that you will not be able to use your gas-powered leaf blower. I don't know that I've ever used a leaf blower before, but some of you may. Just want to let you all know that if you have a gas-powered one rather than an electric one, yeah, you won't be able to use it. So under the township's new regulations that began today and will run through October 1st, using a gas-powered leaf blower is prohibited. The next stage goes into effect in 2027 when gas-powered leaf blowers will be prohibited from January 1st to April 1st. We're going to see this continue on throughout the years. And just want to let you know, this has been a discussion out in the Lower Merion area since like the early 2000s. So it is a talker. Maybe it doesn't affect you, but it affects someone, and not everybody is happy about it, but some people say good riddance. So this is supposed to be one of those environmental changes. They'd say no more gas-powered leaf blowers. All right, you guys, with that being said, we are going to take a quick step back. When we come back, though, tomorrow, New Jersey has its turns with primaries, and while that's a big election, we're also keeping our eyes forward to an even bigger one, the midterms. I'm hearing that there are some scams going around, and I don't want you to get roped into them. So we'll be talking to somebody who can tell us a little bit more about how these scams work, how to make sure that you don't get caught up when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. If you're unaware, tomorrow is primary election night for New Jersey, and South Jersey actually has a couple of races that you might want to keep your eyes on. And while we're talking about all things election, don't worry, we'll get back into, where you can vote, when is the latest that you can vote in just a second. But I also want to keep our eyes on the big prize, which midterms, talking about one-day presidential election, all that good stuff. When elections come up, we see more and more scams circulating around. I wanted to bring in an expert who can talk to us a little bit more about a couple that are affecting people now. This is Dr. Megan Squire joining us from Cyber Threat Intelligence Researcher. She's from F-Secure. Dr. Squire, talk to us a little bit about what people are seeing, what kind of scams are on the rise right now.
Yeah, well, it's election season, and that means scams, unfortunately. So we've got 3 big types of scams we're tracking right now. One is fake political action committees or fake candidates. So this will typically come as a text message asking for donations. We're also seeing the same kind of format, text message, emails asking for voter registration information. So it's the second big type of scam. The third type that we're seeing are fake survey requests. So sometimes these even follow up after the election, and they might look like an exit poll. And they try to ask you for information about how you voted, and sometimes even personal information after that. A lot of times those fake surveys also will promise funds if you give your opinion, win $100 if you give your opinion about some election issue. So we want to really caution about those 3 types of scams right now.
So essentially, kind of the way they get you, one way is by making it a sense of urgency, but then also when you were just mentioning offering you something, so those incentives, those should be the things that you watch out for, but not because you want to click on it, watch out for it because it might be the way that they're trying to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. And around election time, they're going to kind of key in on hot button issues sometimes. So if they know that there's a particular issue in your municipality or locally, even nationally, they'll use that issue to try to get you to click in and become interested in the scam. So this works especially with fake political action committees. All of a sudden, you'll start getting, solicitations for some kind of issue that might be important to you, and it turns out to be a scam, or asking you about your opinion on a survey, and then that turns out to be a scam.
Okay, well, we got to keep our eyes open for this kind of stuff. One thing I always find interesting, younger people, my generation and the generation below me, when it comes to talking about scams, especially text scams, we're like, well, obviously that would never happen to me. I know how to spot it, but some of these people are really, really good. And keep in mind that if you just came from voting and it looks like an exit survey, a lot of this stuff really does look official. You would be surprised at how easy it is to get roped into this kind of stuff, right?
Definitely. And AI is making it easier for the scams to get better looking. So they're going to be easier to trick you. Now, the younger voter comment is really interesting because I have seen in our research, we've tracked scammers taking one technique that they used to use, let's say the old toll road scam. Remember those from last year? Yeah. So they're taking that format of scam and then repackaging it for the election and specifically targeting younger voters. So that one is actually top of mind for me very much. I have a little collection of those scams that I've already got, unfortunately, a little tiny pile of those. So I'm expecting to see a few more.
I get them too. They're always talking about the New York tolls, which is crazy. I am originally from New York, but I have never had a New York registered car in my life. I've never driven in New York, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes they match it up by where your phone your 3 digits at the front of your phone number are, and so it'll be a little bit off. You'll be like, I have a Miami phone number, but I'm getting toll stuff from Florida, but I live in Missouri or whatever. So they're not always the best, but it does fool a lot of people, unfortunately. And as the scam becomes known, so the toll road scam doesn't always work so well anymore. People are aware of it. The scammers have to decide what to do next, and so they'll just sort of dust off the playbook. Try something new.
Yeah, the scams that really scare me are the ones where they're actually able to dupe your voice or a loved one's voice, and you really truly think that the person that you know is the person that you're talking to. Those are so scary to me. And I feel for like older parents and whatnot who might not know any better and know to hang up and then actually call you directly. But back to these text scams at hand, what are they trying to get from you? What kind of information?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the voice cloning scams because we do see those a little bit emerging in the political milieu. So what I mean by that is they'll call and impersonate a voice. Now, it might not be someone you know, like with the scam that you mentioned where it's impersonating, a loved one and saying they've been in an accident or something. Those are also a problem. But you'll find that those voice cloning technologies are used when someone has a voice that they don't want you to hear, and they would like to mask that with one that might be more familiar to you. Let's say there's an accent issue, or they want to appear to be a woman or a man, and not the opposite, right? So we're seeing those voice cloning technologies used more and more in all types of telephone-based, audio-based scams.
And so do they just want money? Are people looking for personal information?
Yeah, so whether it's a call and a text message, an email, there's going to be some kind of call to action. So if it's a text message, they're going to want you to click a link or reply. If it's an email, they're probably going to want you to click a link, maybe open a document. If it's a phone call, it's usually staying engaged on the phone, and they're going to walk you through some kind of method of payment usually. So there's two big things they're going to want to extract from you. One is information, and that would be, personal details, probably to, steal an identity, something like that, not great. And then the other one would be money directly. So it's going to be financial either way. Just one of them is a longer way around by, stealing your identity first. But yeah, they're going to want to extract financial details, try to get you to pay for something. One of the classics, especially with that survey-based scam that I mentioned, is they'll offer you money, right? But in order to unlock the funds, you have to pay a shipping fee or pay a tiny, unlock fee first. So we call this an advance fee scam, and it's, kind of a classic old-timey one, but it's definitely one to keep an eye out for here. No survey should be asking you to pay for anything up front to answer it or to, get a prize or anything like that.
So then I guess the answer here may be a simple one, but the best way to make sure that you don't fall victim, just don't click it.
So actually the biggest advice and best advice I can give, it happens even before that. It's kind of slow down. Just let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out, slow down and think about what you're about to do, whether it's clicking, scanning a QR code, replying to an email, picking up the phone even. Just stop and slow down. Do I know this number? Does this link look right? Can I ask someone around me what they think about it? Just take that beat. The scammers are expecting you not to. They're expecting to inject this sense of urgency or sense of winning, something that's going to happen. Oh, it's no big deal. And so we want to inject some friction in there. We want to put up some speed bumps, right? So that we don't accidentally start going down the path of getting scammed.
Yeah, give yourself some time to think. While I have you here, there's just one more thing that I want to put out there, only because I keep seeing it on social media, and I know people mean well, but it's not the way to go, I don't think. I'm seeing people who, they know that the person that's reaching out to them is a scammer, and they're kind of fed up with it, or they want to make some content, and so they answer. They're thinking, I'm just going to mess with them, and then it'll be fine. But you're opening yourself up to more scams by even answering, right?
Absolutely, 100%. They definitely come back to the well, both whether you fall for the scam or even if they know that they have a live one on the line. Because while you might not have fallen for this scam, you have proven that you'll engage, and that's the first step for a lot of these folks. I've also seen cases, Jediah, where folks tried to start down this path of baiting the scammer or having fun with the scammer, and they end up joining the scam. Please do not do that. There's nothing good at the end of this road. So just don't do it. It's not good. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. It was Yeah, it's really bad. There was a woman. There was at least one case where the person thought they were going to be pulling one over on the scammer, and they ended up joining the scam, and now they're doing time. So this is not a good path for you to go down. Yeah.
So
don't answer the scam.
If you can't beat them, join them. They did not mean this case.
Right.
Goodness gracious. Thank you so much, Dr. Squire, for giving us this good warning ahead of time.
Absolutely.
We know primaries coming up for New Jersey. Midterm elections are coming up. This is a very big deal. Keep your head on a swivel, you guys. We don't want to see you all falling victim. Dr. Squire, I appreciate you for your time.
My pleasure. Good luck out there.
Thank you. All right, you guys, still ahead. Ton to talk about. Today is a really big day. Philadelphia Eagles have decided they were going to trade A.J. Brown to the, oh my goodness, to the Patriots. I don't know why I lost it there. To the Patriots. And this is a moment that a lot of us here kind of expected. Not kind of, we expected it. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been a rumor for quite some time now. It was just kind of like, when is it going to happen? And that's actually something that I want to talk to our sports team about next. Hopefully we can dive into a little bit deeper, like what was the timeline, the schedule all about? Why did they wait until 4 something to make this announcement? Did all of it add up to something? We'll be touching base with our sports team. We'll be getting a live look at your weather forecast, and we'll talk to you about some more news coming up. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to give you a live look out at the White House. There are quite a few stories that pertain to President Donald Trump, to Washington, D.C., and to some plans that he has ahead this summer for you, for people who might want to get out there and celebrate America's 250th birthday. All of this is really interesting when you really take a look at it. So first and foremost, you can kind of see it in the backdrop of this live camera right here, but there is a giant stage on the South Lawn being built where there's supposed to be a big UFC fight. President Donald Trump says he's celebrating America's 250th birthday on June 14th. It also happens to be his 80th birthday. He's expecting to host thousands of people for those fights. We're talking celebrities, residents, people who are just patriotic in general. It's supposed to be a very, very big event happening. And again, you can kind of see it in the shadows there. That stage is huge. It's bigger than the White House itself, at least taller than it. So that's what's going on in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, starting June 25th to July 10th, there's supposed to be a big thing called Freedom 250. This is a public-private partnership that's been backed by President Donald Trump. He's hosting the Great American State Fair. Again, it's also called Freedom 250, a 16-day exposition from June 25th to July 10th. And there's supposed to be a series of performers, but we're hearing that a lot of them are calling out. So Bret Michaels, he's one of them. He says that what was presented as a celebration of our country has evolved into something much more divisive than what I agreed to be a part of. He said now concerns have been raised regarding the safety of his fans. crew, family, and even himself, including some threats. And so he feels like for the safety of his family, he should just call out. So he has decided to pull out. Commodores, the funk soul band behind Brick House, you guys know that song, they have also pulled out from their performance. They're supposed to perform on June 27th. They said they would not publicly affiliate with any single political party. Young MC, who's made the song Bust the Move, he says that artists were never told about any political involvement with the event, so he's decided to pull out. He was supposed to perform on the 26th. He says that he does still hope to perform in Washington in the near future, but maybe at an event that's not so politically staged and charged. And then Martina McBride, she's a country singer known for songs like Independence Day and A Broken Wing. She says that she thought that this was a bipartisan event, and now that she knows it might lean one way or the other, she's no longer comfortable performing. She was supposed to perform on the 25th. She goes on to say, "It greatly upsets me that any fan who has been moved by any music may now feel like I'm abandoning the meaning behind those songs." She goes on to say, "I assure you that is not the case." Now, who's still in? The lead vocalist of C+C Music Group Factory says maybe. They're known for the music Gonna Make You Sweat. Now, he says in a video posted on social media that he didn't know the event was put on by the president, and he added that he might perform on June 26th, even though people are saying maybe you shouldn't. Vanilla Ice has 10 toes down, says I'm still performing. And then Flo Rida also says that he is still performing. He actually commented some laughing emojis in response to a question on Instagram about why he was set to perform on July 2nd. So again, all of this will take place between June 25th to July 10th. We're hearing that some people are pulling out. Some people say they're not shaken. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump says, with all the people that are planning to call out, maybe I should just turn this into a political rally altogether. He says that if he does that, maybe he'll be the headliner. So let me know what you all think about that. Would you have gone out to the event if you could? Are you planning to go? And then, with him saying that it might turn into a political rally instead, would you be more interested in that versus some performances on June 14th? So again, that's supposed to take place on his birthday. The Trump administration has also issued a ban on transgender troops. An appeals court has judged and ordered that the Trump administration's ban on transgender troops be illegal. The court that ruled the Trump administration violated the constitutional rights of transgender members of the U.S. military by barring them from service is speaking up. This is a ruling by a 3-judge panel from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. They upheld the lower court's finding that President Donald Trump's executive order illegally banned transgender troops. The ruling will not go into effect immediately in order to allow time for the Trump administration to request the full court take the case. So that is interesting there because in March of 2025, Judge Ana Reyes covered 6 transgender people currently serving, as well as 2 other individuals who wanted to enlist. This was a preliminary injunction with that particular case. So anyway, all of this to say that now it may be possible for transgender troops to go back out into service. A lot of people said that wasn't fair in the first place to ban them or bar them from serving their country. Another thing that I want to get into, while oil prices we're hearing are continuing to go up because the ceasefire deal between the U.S. and Iran has not actually materialized. While those oil prices are going up, we're seeing that gas prices are coming down, and by quite a bit. So the national average today, I want to take a look out at the AAA map. It looks like the national average today is $4.32, and that is down a penny from just last night, but it's down 18 cents over the last week. And if you're anything like me, every single cent counts when we're talking about putting gallons into your vehicle. So Pennsylvania's average today gas price is $4.48. Again, that's down a penny overnight, but we're talking about 12 cents in the last week. And for Philly in particular, they're down 14 cents in the last week. Now, New Jersey, their gas average today is $4.38. But if we narrow it down to our viewing area, South Jersey, it's $4.31, which is down 2 cents already from last night and down 15 cents in the last week. And then, you ready for this one? Delaware's gas average is $4.11 today, which is down 2 cents from overnight, down 24 cents in the last week. So we're seeing some pretty decent change here. We seem to be going in the right direction, but you know, how much further can we go? A lot of people have been stressed out trying to fill up their cars, where I've told you before, to fill up my car on average was under $30. I traveled back to Georgia for a vacation, went to fill up my car, and I want to say it stopped at just over $50, and my heart like sank to my stomach. And everybody has been feeling it. California especially, they are paying a whole lot, so I don't envy them. Their average is $6.03 today. Now, while that's down for them, that's still extremely high depending on where you live in the country. I want to take a look at just one of the blue areas real quick. Pick any of them. Okay, Texas, $3.80. So they're under $4. That's not too bad. But again, I hope that we continue going in this direction. This is what I want to see. All right, we've got one more that I'll run through with you guys. I'm seeing student loans. Are you guys hearing the newest information about student loans, how it may affect you? I am hearing that there is a new deadline that you should be aware of. So financial planners say that people who have federal student loan debt and plan to take on more debt, or maybe even consolidate their existing debt in the future, you have until, I believe it's July 1st. Otherwise, there's some big changes that are coming that could affect your ability to do so. So borrowers will be facing fewer repayment and debt forgiveness options. The updates are a result of President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act that was passed last year. Financial advisors are cautioning students to be very careful while you are trying to take out new loans or figure out what you're going to do with the ones that you already have, as payments have started back up. A lot of people who were on the SAVE plan weren't paying at all, and now that is something that you do need to figure out what you're going to do very soon. We're already in June. You have until July 1st. After July 1st, they say that some of your loans will go from being or you would go from being a legacy borrower to a new borrower, and that brings a whole new set of rules. So keep that in mind, especially if you haven't started paying yet, because that could hit you upside your head if you are not ready for it. All right, coming back here to me in studio, one of the other big things that I wanted to share with you all is what's going on up in the skies. I want to get your latest meteorological forecast from Kathy Orr, who's waiting on in the wings. Kathy, what's going on out there?
Not much tonight, but we are seeing temperatures falling pretty quickly, Judea. And the reason why, we have this really dry atmosphere. So with dry conditions and not much wind and a clear sky, you're going to see temperatures tumble. The other thing I wanted to talk to our viewers about tonight was the start of hurricane season. Yes, it is here. June 1st is when it begins. And the good news is the forecast is for a quieter than normal or active season. El Nino is expected to form, and that's the warming of the waters off the coast of Peru. And that would mean that there would be more wind shear. Wind shear is when the winds move in different directions, at different speeds and directions as you go up in the atmosphere. And that shift in wind tends to tear apart any significant storms that would develop. It inhibits their development, and that would mean we would have a below average hurricane season as far as the numbers are concerned. So when we look at the numbers, we're talking about perhaps 3 major hurricanes, and hopefully they would not be making land, so that would be good news. The reason that we're talking about the climate impacts are, we know that El Nino creates such impacts, and we came out of the winter knowing that we were going to see those ocean water temperatures off the coast of Peru warming. And it's not just for the folks that live off that coast, it's a global impact. And over the past few decades, we've gotten to know what those global impacts mean. A strong El Nino in the winter means less snow. In the summer, it means we could be seeing the shredding of tropical systems in the Atlantic, which is good news. So here is the official forecast for the Atlantic hurricane season from NOAA. They're talking about a 55% chance of below normal conditions. That would mean 8 to 14 storms that are named, and you have to become a tropical storm to get a name. The average is 14. Number of hurricanes between 3 to 6, the average is 7, and major hurricanes 1 to 3, the average is 3. So hopefully we stay on the low end of that. So as we look ahead in Philadelphia tonight, just brilliant conditions. It's 62, there's no humidity, the winds are light, 55 in the Poconos, and those temperatures falling really fast. It's 56 in Vineland. Overnight temperatures dropping in the 40s in the neighborhoods, and by tomorrow we bounce back in the 70s. So you'll need a light jacket or a sweater in the morning. By the afternoon, it's t-shirts, shorts, and even flip-flops. That's how nice it's going to be. Then as we go through the afternoon, you can see how the temperatures peak close to the dinner hour and then begin to fall. But by 9 p.m. tomorrow night, it's still around 70. Then the heat begins to build, and this is a contour map. You see those dark orange colors? Those are 90s, and they'll be building toward us over the course of the week and into the weekend. So let's talk about it. 70s Tuesday, 80s Wednesday, and then by Thursday, we're talking 90s. The humidity kicks in Friday, so that will make it a little bit more sticky. Saturday, it's an official heat wave. Then showers and thunderstorms come in on Sunday. They break the heat, and we'll be back in the 80s. By Monday, we're in the 70s. If you're planning on going down the shore, you know it's not as warm down there because we get that nice sea breeze. That's the whole idea of going to the shore. That's how you beat the city heat. So Friday will be at 77, Saturday 77, and by Sunday, a few showers possible, 73. But nevertheless, it looks like a great weekend. 77 down the shore will feel like 80s inland because of all that reflectivity, Judea. You have the reflectivity of the water, of the sand. That's why it feels hotter there.
Got you. You know, what's so interesting to me, my dad lives on the water in Florida, and I always think that when you get to those areas, it tends to be a little cooler because of like well, at least I thought.
Yes, because of the breeze, the sea breeze, yes.
But then you mentioned the reflective surface too, and that might be why the sand is so hot. Sometimes it burns your toes while you're trying to walk to the water.
Yes, so you feel the breeze, but the sand is hot, and it's hot all day until that sea breeze kicks in. It's very complicated.
Interesting how that works. Yeah. You mentioned tomorrow's going to be pretty nice weather. But we know the Phils are playing tomorrow, and it's actually going to be a home game. San Diego Padres are coming our way. So it should be pretty nice weather for the game.
We are going to have great weather for them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, it's going to be hot. I was contemplating going to the game Saturday, and now I'm thinking, oh, wow, it's going to be like 90. But that's great baseball weather, right?
It is. If you got a cold one or some ice cream, you can enjoy it just fine.
Exactly.
Just got to have the right seats.
That's correct.
All right, Kathy, thank you so much for giving us a look at our forecast here. We're going to let you go so you can get ready for the 10 o'clock news. But for you guys out there, we got a big story to bring you all. So I'm hearing that back in 2025, there was a shooting at a Dallas ICE field office. And so today, we're now in June 1st, 2026. Secretary Markwayne Mullin from the Department of, from DHS, he held a press conference where he not only honored the officers who were involved in that situation, but he also talked a little bit more about what he wants to see from detention facilities in the future. So when we come back from that break, I'm going to show you guys what he said, let you guys listen in and see a little bit more. We'll be right back. Welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Normally we bring you guys breaking live news happening here on our home front. That's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. But every now and again, we're also able to bring you guys some national news as well. So on September 24th of 2025, a gunman opened fire on a rooftop of the Dallas ICE field office. And we're hearing that there were many officers involved in this situation. 2 detainees were killed, and then they say the gunman turned the gun and killed himself. Now, today, the United States Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin actually held a press conference where he wanted to honor the officers, he's saying those heroic officers who were involved in this situation. I'll let you listen into a little bit of what he had to say. This is not going to, we may be able to play the full response for you all, but we'll see what we have with time. We'll be right back with this.
You know, we're in Dallas, Texas at the detention center here, and while we are celebrating 3 individuals for their heroic actions taken on a very dark and bad day, something that should have never taken place, it's the irony of this is that each day we go after the worst of the worst, and that's what the ICE agents and that's what DHS and our other 21 components do on a daily basis. We focus on keeping our homeland safe. But today we get a pause for a little bit and we recognize the best of the best. See, the left, they want to demonize our ICE officers every single day, but really they're enforcing the laws that these individuals that want to demonize them, the congressmen and senators and even governors that want to go out and say they're breaking the Constitution and that they're, I'll call them all these horrific names. The truth is not one thing they can point to where they say they ever broke the Constitution. There's not one thing that they can say that they're doing that is outside the law that they are mandated to do, that Congress has the one that mandated them to do so. They enforce the laws that were passed by our nation's leaders. And when we get a pause for just a second and recognize the activities of 3 individuals that were willing to risk their lives to the same people that were simply being arrested just sometimes an hour before or the day before, but they are being processed here in Dallas, Texas. The fact that they're willing to sacrifice their lives for individuals that's in their custody would speak volumes to what type of law enforcement we have that work in ICE and at DHS. And for me, being the Secretary of DHS, it's an honor to be here today. In fact, in some cases, I feel like I shouldn't even be the one standing up here. I wasn't Secretary at the time, and nor was I here during that tragic moment when 17 shots were fired from a rooftop just a few hundred feet away. But I'm honored to be invited here today, and a guy that responded quickly, that was only a few moments away when the gunfire started, who came in without hesitation. The man that's going to actually be the one that should be presenting the awards, but you're going to be calling the names out. He's going to come up here and speak for a moment, and then we're going to present the awards to these 3 brave individuals. So Robert, why don't you take over the mic from here?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Robert Serna. I'm a Deputy Field Office Director for ICRO, and I was the first manager that was at the scene on September 24th. You know, September 24th, I remember that morning, it was supposed to be, you know, a busy morning because we had about 70 new surge hire employees coming in, deportation officers coming in. So we were going to be pretty busy that morning. I was coming to the office a little bit earlier than usual when I got notified about, you know, shots being fired at our office. Now I was only about 5 miles away. It didn't take me that long to get here, but just arriving to the scene, not knowing exactly what I was going to encounter. Now, I've been doing this job. I've been working for, you know, in the immigration with INS and CBP and ICE for about 27 years. And you know, we train all the time for different situations, but you know, this tragic situation that we had on the 24th is just, you know, it's a senseless act. It was an act targeted, you know, an act of violence targeted towards us, towards ICE. You know, that morning, 3 individuals, 3 detainees that were in one of our detention vans were struck by the sniper. The sniper thought that, you know, he was striking a van with our employees, but he actually hit three of our detainees. There was 10 others in that vehicle. At the time, we did have help from some of our other partners, federal partners. So, you know, I do want to thank that help. And we had HSI, ICE HSI, we had FBI, FPS, we had the Department of War, we had Texas DPS, and then I'd like to thank Dallas PD for responding. You know, I remember getting here in the morning, you know, witnessing our officers go to action and helping the individuals that were wounded with gunshots. You know, they were treating to them. They were taking them to the ambulances so that they can be rushed to the hospital. And you know, at the same time, we still didn't know if there was still an active shooter, if there was only one shooter, if there was another suspect that we weren't aware of. You know, I do want to thank Dallas PD for having their SWAT team arrived here. Their SWAT team cleared our office, our whole building, and they assisted with the aftermath. Now, you know, the aftermath, it took us a while back to get this office back into the shape that it is right now. You know, there was a lot of windows that were shot at. We have 15 windows in the back. 7 of those were shot at with multiple rounds. So you could see there's that frame there was up on a wall. Shot went through a window, went through a wall, and then hit that frame and that glass. It went through, and then it was embedded into like the middle of our office. So there was a lot of carnage, but you know, we overcame that, and you know, I'm proud to be here in Dallas doing the work that I'm doing, and I'm proud of the team that we have that goes out there every day to do the work that they're doing. You know, I'd like to say that there were many forms of heroism that day. Today, I am honored and proud to welcome Department of Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin, who is here to recognize 3 of these, you know, heroes. I know he said, you know, the best of the best, and that's correct. I'll go ahead and I'll start off with recognizing Deportation Officer Andres Goche. Dio Goche demonstrated extraordinary courage during the active shooter incident, making the initial 911 call and providing critical information. He risked his safety to extract multiple detainees from a transport van under fire, enabling them to receive life-saving care and stabilizing them until advanced medical help arrived. Andres Goche. All right. Deportation Officer Marco Solis. Dio Solis responded under active threat administering life-saving first aid to 2 critically injured detainees. He conducted immediate trauma assessments, provided emergency care, and coordinated with responders to ensure safe casualty movement. Marco Solis. Enforcement and Removal Assistant Christopher Pine. ERA Pine administered life-saving first aid to 2 detainees, establishing a casualty care area under duress. He provided direct emergency interventions, coordinated with responders, and sustained patient stability until transfer, directly contributing to the preservation of life. ERA Christopher Pine. And now I'll pass it on. I'll introduce Congressman Brandon Gill.
Thank you. And first of all, I want to thank Secretary Mullen for taking the time to come out to Dallas and to these genuine heroes for our country and everything that they've been doing. You know, ICE and Border Patrol are on the front lines of not only defending American sovereignty, but keeping our communities safe and ensuring that murderers and rapists and gangbangers are not running loose within our neighborhoods. These are the guys who are making sure that America stays America, that it is a place where we can raise our kids safely and in communities that are conducive to American flourishing. And we're so thankful for the work you guys have done. You know, over the past several months, we've heard increasingly, really the past year, we've heard increasingly deranged rhetoric from the other side of the aisle. And I hear it every single day in Washington. I know you guys feel the impacts of that. Referring to ICE and Border Patrol as Nazis, as the Gestapo, and far, far worse. And eventually, some lunatic is going to hear that and believe that they are the next Dietrich Bonhoeffer and act on that rhetoric, and that's exactly what happened here. That's the kind of stuff that we are sick of, that makes your lives more dangerous and puts America at risk. These, as it happens, the same people spewing this rhetoric are the same people who are holding up funding for ICE and for Border Patrol. They're given a binary choice. They can either fund ICE and Border Patrol or, on the other hand, make your jobs more dangerous. And Democrats have routinely, for the past several weeks, chosen the latter. So what I'd like to do is say thank you guys so much for the work that y'all are doing here to keep this country safe, to keep our border secure. You guys are true heroes, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Secretary Mullen, and of course we're thankful to the Trump administration for fulfilling their promise to keep our country safe.
Thank you, Brandon. And I want to point out again that, you know, while we focus daily on getting the worst out the worst, or worst of the worst, we're definitely celebrating the best of the best. And it's frustrating to me when you hear the rhetoric of the left, and they're demonizing law enforcement for simply doing their job. And I'd like to point out that you see the individuals behind me. They're willing to run in and risk their lives for those that were under their protection. Those that the left want to demonize them for arresting because they broke our nation's laws. These three and many others were willing to run towards the gunfire, put their life at risk put their families at risk of losing their loved ones. And I point out all the time that I guarantee you their family loves them as much as my family loves me, except they are here every single day upholding the standard of law that puts their lives at danger, and they're willing to do their job, in some cases for free, because the Democrats are still not wanting to pay them. And they haven't missed a day. They continue to show up. They continue to do their job. They're continuing enforcing the nation's laws. And as secretary for the last 8 weeks, I've never heard them complain. And that's why I say I'm honored to be the secretary over, I think, the greatest group of federal employees, period. They're literally willing to do their job for free, and that's protect my yard, protect your backyard, and protect our homeland. And so, guys, thank you once again for doing that. You represent what we know is true, but unfortunately the American people, sometimes all they hear is the rhetoric of the left. And I'll tell you truly, I pray for you guys, I pray for your family, and I mean this sincerely. Love you. Thank you so much for what you do. With that, I'll stop, and we'll open it for questions. I'm going to ask Brandon to join me up here too, the congressman that really overdressed for this meeting, but it's okay. I mean, I appreciate it. You look good. I mean, I told somebody one time that, you know, the difference between my suit and your suit is, right, is when I'm wearing a suit, I make the suit look good. This suit makes you look good. I'm just playing. So let's open up for questions, and we'll be willing to field anything you have.
Secretary Mullen, Brooke
Yes.
Miller with
Yes.
Fox News. We see what's going on in Newark with Delaney
Yes.
Hall. One officer was just bit in the arm. Then you had another young agitator who was just arrested for telling the officer he's going to kill him and his family.
That's right.
What are you specifically doing to protect these ICE officers who are just trying to do their job?
Well, first of all, we have zero tolerance. The president and I have talked about this. If you verbally assault our officers, if you attack our vehicles, if you attack our property, you attack the person themselves, we will arrest you. We have absolutely zero issue with you exercising your First Amendment in a peaceful protest. But when you're threatening the lives of an officer, that's verbal assault. When you threaten the lives of their family, that's verbal assault. When you spit on an officer, when you put hands on an officer, when you touch our vehicles, that is assaulting federal property and assaulting a federal officer, and we have zero tolerance. We will arrest you. What I think the best thing that's happened at the detention center in New Jersey right now is the fact that state police finally was able to respond when the Governor Sherrill, allowed them to. And it wasn't that state police and local law enforcement didn't want to help. They just were told not to help. We see over and over again in these sanctuary cities and sanctuary states where law enforcement officers, they want to do their job. That's why they signed up to do their job. But so often you have radical left leadership that doesn't allow them to do so. But when they did show up, they quickly realized these aren't peaceful protesters that the radical left politicians were telling you about. These were individuals that were well organized. We've arrested individuals that came in from Portland, not from New Jersey, came from Portland to lead. We've seen that they've been well supplied. We've seen Antifa flags being flown. And once the state police came out, and which, by the way, awesome group of guys, they understand crowd control very well, and they started pushing the individuals back after they warned them, started making arrests. You saw that the situation quickly got under control. And for us, when we first started calling, they were simply saying they didn't have the resources. And it's interesting to me that they finally found the resources and started clearing their streets. We can control our building. We can provide security for our own building. But if the city and state streets, that is their job to do. However, we will do it if we have to protect our employees, to protect the detainees coming in and out, and protecting the property if required to. But right now we have great cooperation, and we hope that continues.
All right, so that might actually be a perfect place to put a pin in that, because he just addressed Delaney Hall, which of course is that ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey that has been seeing protesters almost every single night. They actually recently issued a curfew over the weekend, and apparently protesters broke that. So a couple of them were arrested that we heard from Sunday night. Now, I did want to make sure we told you the names of the officers who were honored in that particular press conference. Enforcement Removal Assistant Christopher Pine, Deportation Officer Marco Salas, and Deportation Officer Andres Goche. Those are the 3 officers that he did honor during that particular press conference. All right, you guys, we are going to take a quick step back. When we come back, though, I want to run through some of the trending topics with you all. What's Philly talking about? And then, remember, I've got that question of the night. We need to see how you guys are voting. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. I had to bring Jake Leonard back up to the desk, talk to you guys about some of the biggest topics, some stuff that I saw trending. I want to pose a scenario for you. Okay.
I'm all
so
yours.
Imagine it's your birthday, right?
Okay.
You're the birthday boy, super excited, going out to dinner, right? And it's your night, but your best friend decides to propose to their partner. Are we upset? Is this fine?
Yeah, no. I don't know if we would be best friends
It's
after
my
that.
party. What are you doing? Get up. Get up. I paid for this dinner. I asked this question because I actually saw a video that was trending on social media.
Okay.
Is this young girl graduating? She was having her graduation party. It looks like her brother comes up and he and his partner offer his sister a present.
Okay.
So she opens up the present and it's a pregnancy test.
Okay.
They're like, you're
Right.
going to be an auntie. And people in the comment section were like, this isn't about you. What are you doing? They were really upset for this young girl. And so it made me think, is it appropriate to celebrate or make a personal announcement during someone else's event?
Yeah. So you can see on the screen right now, we ran a poll,
Mhm.
fox29.com/go vote, Fox Local tab. Definitely not dominating 82%. So
It's so interesting to me. I mean, well, I figured the same thing. If it's my birthday, if I'm getting married, like, why are you?
I know.
This is not about
I know.
you.
It's my day.
It's my day.
You know, I
Yeah.
have one day.
Absolutely. Okay, real quick, while we have, I would think about a minute. What is Philly talking about? What's going out there on the internet?
Okay, so really quick, interesting story. We talked about Pennsylvania based, she's from Pennsylvania, Taylor Swift, another Pennsylvania pop star, Sabrina Carpenter. This is not fun news. It's actually quite scary. So obviously, these pop stars have stalkers, and Sabrina currently has a stalker. She's trying to get a restraining order, and she actually used ring footage.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we have it up on the screen right now. Basically, this person claimed that he knew her, got through security and was knocking on the door. She's like, I don't know him, whatever. Got arrested, got released, came back 24 hours later and was at her door.
Absolutely not. Somebody's getting fired.
No,
What do you mean you were able to make it through my security just by telling you?
Yes.
Protect these young women. Protect all the people out there.
It's really scary, but it's good that she has this ring footage. She has proof. So
not for nothing, this kind of makes me think about the whole Nancy Guthrie case. Just because I'm seeing something on her doorbell footage and whatnot, protect our people. This is crazy. I hope that mentally she's doing okay, because that's scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us. That's what's going on out there. That's what's happening here on Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. This is Jake Leonard. The news continues at 10. Don't go anywhere.